We also have a podcast, which, is, let me see. There's something funky. Oh, there is something funky going on with the cameras. You're right. There is. Hold on. There. Thank you, chat, for letting me know something weird was happening with the cameras. It is fixed. Thank you.
Rats, I was trying to make more of a wall.
Success. We are fixed. We also have a podcast, which I want to put in our podcast command because someone should do it. That's not even it. I don't even know what's happening. Here we go. Wait. Podcast. So we have a podcast of Night Witches if you want to hear this on podcast form. We have a Discord. You can come out and hang out with us. We're also on Twitter. You can find us in many places and, doing the things that we do. So if you want to support us, there are ways to do this. I mean, it's a great mission. We are doing some really wonderful things, I think, in streaming spaces, and we have more to come. I should tell you, this is the last episode of Night Witches Toil and Trouble. This is the series finale. But there will be more things coming up in our next season. Worlds Beyond will be ending in 2 weeks. 2 weeks. Yeah. But upcoming, we have an Expanse show, a show based on The Expanse. We have a French Resistance show, and The Expanse will be run by Scotland, Level 2-3, who's amazing, and the French Resistance show, which will be run by me, and Lauren Random Tuesday will be running a show that is secret and is yet to be announced because there's, secrets. It's like there's like secret hype. And so that'll be for our new season. And if you want to support the new season, because as a nonprofit, we do want to pay our cast and also rent and also electricity and internet bills. So if you want to do that, what are we going to do? So we have over there, we have our goal. You can see it. And you can contribute to our goal in a couple of different ways to help us fund this show. You can, if you want, donate. And if you donate, we will read out your donation messages at the half and at the end. And so far we have such amazing donations and messages, and it is very helpful. If you do not wish to donate with cash, you can donate with bits, which will also end up over there. You can also, if you like, become a Patreon. We have a Patreon, and that's really wonderful. It really helps us out to have that sort of regularity. Besides donating on Patreon or with cash or with tips, you can also subscribe here on the channel, which I think should probably be down there somewhere, is the subscribe button, and you can subscribe. Or if you have Amazon Prime, you can subscribe for a month for free with your Amazon Prime, and that also would be much appreciated. All of that said, there are other things you can do to help us out and be supportive. You can be here right now watching our show. Watching the show is one of the best ways you can be supportive. Be here in chat with us, talk to us, watch our shows. We are doing this for you. We enjoy with being here with ourselves and playing with each other is a great honor, but we are doing this for you. So being here is helpful.
Only a little for ourselves.
Just a little for ourselves. Tell your friends about us. There's a share button down there that you can hit so you can tweet out that we are live. You can host the channel. So just signal boosting in general is super, super helpful. And those are all ways that you can support us, and they are all much appreciated. So I am so happy to have one of the most amazing casts around, and I'm thrilled beyond measure to have our cast introduce themselves. And I'm going to start with my favorite werewolf, I think. Mac, why don't you introduce yourself? Tell us who you are and where we can find you.
You think?
Well, it's just that I don't know if you are a werewolf. You haven't confirmed it. So...
well, were I confirming it...
Then you would definitely be my favorite werewolf.
Oh, okay. Cool. I just wanted to double check. It's important. Hi, guys. I'm Mac Beauvais. You can find me pretty much everywhere online as @StrangeLikeThat, and occasionally creeping up behind you in the dark. And you can also find me over at Happy Jacks, where I do a a lot of games as well. And also, I'm the over at Crypt TV doing all of our product, and we just launched the official Crypt TV online store. So check that out if you like spooky merchandise.
You know, Mac, I just saw Us the other day on Wednesday.
I saw it on Thursday.
Yeah. Are you having an existential crisis?
When am I not having an existential crisis? That's like my life.
Yeah. Yeah. I saw it, and when the movie ended and the lights came up, I saw all the people in the audience, and they were just standing around laughing, and I was like, are these people even real?
Are any of us ever real?
Are any of us ever real? And then I thought about you, because I thought, I bet you've seen this movie, and I bet you'd have wonderful things to say.
I totally thought you were going to say you thought about her because you then started thinking, is she real? Is she really real?
Is she creeping up behind you? Like, I don't know. They're questions. They're questions.
That's the way it should be. So, always be questioning.
Always. Let's throw it over to Rocket Fox.
Hello, everyone. I am Rocket Fox. I am found anywhere you can find Rocket Foxes. I'm on Twitter, although I really don't use it all that often. I use Instagram more, Facebook, all these things. I am an illustrator, performer, actor, storyteller, like to cosplay, like to play video games, RPGs, all sorts of stuff. And I am also the president of the board for Superheroines, etc. And we are a 501c3 nonprofit with the mission to empower women and those who identify as women to embrace their inner nerds. So you can check us out at superheroinesetc.org.
Now, please correct me if I'm wrong, but did you not design a really amazing t-shirt for Crypt TV that was limited edition and now can no longer be gotten, but maybe might be able to be gotten sometime in the future? Is that true?
You know, rumors have been abounding as of late about these things, but allow me to put these rumors to rest because yes, it is true. No, it was an absolute thrill. Like, it was a super fun project. So should it come back in any capacity, I would highly recommend anyone checking out, and also checking out the shop because it's pretty awesome from what I understand as well. Rumors on the street.
And without this show, I would not have met Rocket to come and do a design for us. So thank you.
What's happening? The circle is completing.
And let's head over to the shell game. Not here in the middle, not on the side. Where? Oh.
With my wall of Starbucks. Hi, folks. I'm Shell Game. You can find me on Twitch and Twitter and Instagram. I do a lot of different shows here at Geek Space. Right now I'm in Worlds Beyond and obviously on Night Witches. And I also have a couple of shows locally in the Seattle area at Unexpected Productions. If you want to see me attempt to portray the real Ada Lovelace, Ada King, Countess of Lovelace, then check me out on April 7th in House of Ink at, I believe it's 8:30 at Unexpected Productions. Just check out Unexpected Productions and then you'll see things. Also look at my Instagram.
I heard something about you, Shell Game. I want to know if it's true.
Yes.
That you are a competitive athlete in what is known as theater sports.
It's true. It's true. And I'm ruthless. I will do anything for a good gag. No, just kidding. Wow. That was after it came out of my mouth, I thought about what those words were. And here we are. Theater sports.
We have one more player who is not here right now, and that is Margaret Crone, who you can find at Margaret Crone on all of the things. She is currently in another streaming space, but she will be here, and when she shows up, we'll just fix the camera, and it will be awesome. And she is on all over the internet. She also makes games, and she's making a game right now about witches. She's particularly awesome, and she will be here. We've also been lucky to have two guest players, Anna Geeks, who is the CEO of Geek Space TV, and who I think is actually in the chat, perhaps, who was here, and then also Pumpkinberry, and both of them I want to say thank you for your contributions. And I am Trooper SJP, your game moderator for this crew of folks, and you can find me at Trooper SJP, where I stream video games, and you can find me GMing and playing in various places on the internet. Okay, so we are going to go to credits, and when we come back, we will begin the very last episode ever of Night Witches, Toil, and Trouble. We will see you in about a minute and a half. Enjoy this music by the amazing Lizard Eats Flies, and also enjoy the really impressive graphics done by our Ifrithiel. So thank you, Lizard Eats Flies, and thank you, Ifrithiel, for all the work that you've done to make this beautiful. We will see you in about a minute and a half, everyone. Get some water. And welcome back, everyone, to episode 13, the series finale of Night Witches, Toil, and Trouble. Episode title, Victory. Thank you all for being here. I would like everyone who's here right now to introduce their characters that you are playing. Give us your name and tell us about your character, what they look like, where they're at right now. Let's just find out something about your characters. And let's start with Rockette Fox. Who are you playing? And tell us something about her.
Yes, I am playing Titania Petrova, and she is she's very buttoned up, very sharp. The uniform's always pressed, and she, throughout the course of this, has worked her way up the ranks. So she is captain now. She's captain now. And for anyone who may be curious, that is the same rank as everyone else's favorite character, Olga. So just throwing that out there. But yeah, she comes from Leningrad. She went to school initially to be an artist, but then went into the military when Leningrad went under siege. Found out last time that I was here that she was actually in Leningrad at the time and got snuck out. And yeah, she's gotten much more relaxed, I guess, as she's been in the position of leadership that she's been in. So still buttoned up, but a little more comfortable and in place there. So,
Mac, why don't you tell us about your character?
Hey guys, I'm playing Nick Volkova. I'm really sad to not be playing Nick in the future, but she's kind of got a roguish, kind of build, very lithe. She's got short auburn hair and a face full of freckles, and her main focus is changed quite a bit throughout the show. She came in and everything was a little bit more fast and loose, and she was really easygoing, and she's really gotten a lot more withdrawn, more stoic. But the one person who pulls emotions out of her still is Mel, who's a mechanic armorer that she fell in love with. And in the last episode, she was really worried because everybody was pointing fingers about who might be the Nightingale. And one of the top people that was under suspicion was Mel. So she just had a really rough time trying to calm everyone down because everybody was pointing fingers everywhere, and she was worried Mel might get sent away.
Yeah. Ooh. And our most stable and happy and cheerful character played by Shell Game.
Yeah, so Lena. When we first met Lena, she was very sweet, innocent little child who loved to fly, and that was her driving focus. And we've seen her get changed a lot. She fell for Mel, and when, due to some circumstances in the squadron, when there was an accusation of there being a lavender woman, Lena stepped forward to protect Mel. Unfortunately, that meant that she's really been dealing with a lot of PTSD since she came back from the hospital. But she was saved from the hospital by an old childhood friend, Alexei, which means that her name went from Yelena Dozmanova to Yelena Popova. Unfortunately, in this last episode, we just found out that Lena's husband, Alexei, perished in the war. So I think to call Lena stable, we would probably need far more sarcasm than my voice is currently providing.
What? Yeah.
She hasn't broken yet. She hasn't gone stark raving mad.
It's true. Oh, and filling out our section, we have Irina Alberg, played by Margaret Crone, who sort of tall, super tall, like over 6 foot, broad, brawny. She sort of has like a very sort of male sort of figure, and if you don't look closely, you may not recognize that she's a woman. And she's got a bit of a mischievous eye, but she is very dedicated to Mother Russia, and doesn't always get nuance, and that can sometimes cause problems. And the section currently also has in it Anastasia Shermetova, who started off quite young, now has a sort of beautiful blonde, young, sheltered, now with a sort of a large scar and some nerve damage, who very idealistic, a bit of a dreamer, but has seen a lot through war and is sort of trying to figure out ways to be right in a kind of a difficult space and trying to hold on to an idea of something that's a little bit less unpleasant than this moment. And after the death last session of Ivanova, who was hostile.
Oh yeah, I forgot that she died. That's how much she mattered to Lena.
Ouch. Died in a heroic way trying to find out who the traitor was. And if it had not been for Ivanova being able to pull the shoulder board off of the assailant, then maybe you would not have found the great hero Ivanova. That people, I don't know if you're seeing Shell Game's face right now, but it is not impressed. But with her death, your section has been filled up with the Greek, who is the source of local gossip. And that is your current section. Now, when I start the game, a game, by the way, by Jason Morningstar of Bully Pulpit Games, which is an amazing game, and I recommend anybody getting it if you want. It's super fun, very easy to run, and there's even a very cool deck of cards that has like all the medals and cool things on it, so I recommend getting it at your friendly local gaming store if you like. But at the beginning of each session, I usually ask some questions of each player, but I'm not going to do that this session because those questions will be asked later. Instead, I will give you the opening quote. I always like to start each session with a quote from an actual Night Witch because this is based on actual women who fought in World War II for the Soviet Union. And I wanted to give one last quote. And that quote is from Major Maria Smirnova, who was a commander of one of the squadrons, and she was also awarded the award, the Hero of the Soviet Union, which is the highest award a person can earn. And it's sort of like the Medal of Honor, and it's a really big deal. And the 588th had a really large number of people get this amazing honor. So this is a short, sweet last quote for the last episode. What did we all think then, the girls from the flying regiments? Was the war a woman's business? Of course not. But then we didn't think about that. We defended our fair motherland, our people whom the fascists had trampled. We won the greatest victory of the 20th century. I never dreamed to see that victory. We sensed it, but by then I had a feeling that I would not live to see it. Now, having gone through that hell, it has become priceless to me as never before. And so with that, we will begin. I want to just let the audience know that we are using a number of safety tools here to make sure that the game is enjoyable and pleasant for everyone. We are using the red card and the yellow card. If there's something that is too much, they can hit the red card and it will show up, and we will just stop, and there will be no more of whatever that is. We can also hit the yellow card if something is getting a little bit touchy. It's not crossed a line yet, but people do not want to escalate. We want to stay where we're at and not go further so that we can all enjoy our time here. But also, we also have, before the session started, before the whole game started, we did lines, veils, and palettes. We talked about the things that are hard lines for us that we do not want to have in the game, things that are veils that it's okay to have, but we'd rather just kind of fade to black when those things happen, and palettes, things that we really particularly want to have. And so what this does mean is that there are things that have happened in war that we may not be dealing with on screen because they are part of our lines. And just so know that we have done this as a community so that we can really dig into good emotional torture in a way that is positive and not traumatic. And so...
Positive emotional torture.
Positive emotional torture. Exactly. So the last we left, there was the debriefing, and our Night Witches learned a number of things. They learned that it was a successful mission, bombing a really important, the 3rd Panzer Army fuel dump. I mean, they've done this amazing victory. Berlin is on the edge of falling. They are in a commandeered Luftwaffe airbase right in the north, in Buchholz, which is in the north of Berlin, and they are in this base that still has the smell of death. And it's really nice. It's one of the for the first time they've had a really nice place since training, right? They have a pretty nice place they're staying at outside of Berlin, and the 218th are not that far away. And they've had this mission where people were promoted, people were given awards, something, generally a very positive moment. But Lena learned that her husband, Alexei, the man who saved her from hospital, was killed in the war. And the person responsible or partially responsible for that death was the Nightingale. The Nightingale being Senior Sergeant Boris Smirnov, who was the was the quartermaster for the 218th and married to the quartermaster of the 588th, somebody that they all had a fairly decent relationship with, who had given them some contraband items here and there, and and they were all very happy to have them. But it turns out he'd been smuggling information was one of some people smuggling information to the Nazis, and the information that he gave them made it so that the Nazis knew the flight plans of both the 218th and the 588th. And Anasova, who's not currently here, had a bad feeling, had a bit of a premonition, and instead of taking the flight path that they had planned, she took a different flight path. And our night witches were safe from danger. However, the squadrons of the 218th were not. And they flew into enemy fire, and a number of planes went down, including the plane with Alexei Popov. And this news was delivered, and everyone is sort of reeling from that. They know that both Sergeant Smirnov and also his wife, Sergeant Yu, from the 588th have been arrested. And so that is known at the moment that they have been arrested. And there was some question about whether or not Sergeant Yu might have known anything or not. And our zealot, Irina Alberg, pretty much threw you under the bus and implied that she must have known. How could she not? And gave evidence to implicate you in all of this business of the Nightingale. And at this moment, as the sort of curtain rises, it's the barracks. The barracks are sort of empty as people are going off on their days. In the barracks, there are only two people. Those two people are Nick and Mel, who find themselves in the barracks together. Anastasia's off, the Greek is off, they're both doing something. Irina is off, being congratulated for being the hero of the Soviet Union. Titania, who's now a captain and also the deputy commander of the regiment, had been away in training to sort of learn skills for being chief of staff, and she is going to be arriving back on base sometime soon, although she has not arrived yet. So at this moment, it is this quiet space in the barracks with just these two women sitting there together. And so I ask you both, what do you do?
I can't believe he was the Nightingale. I just, they were pointing so many fingers, and it didn't seem like anyone suspected him. What's on your mind?
Sorry, I was distracted by chat. I thought you were in there with Mel. Are you not in there with Mel?
No, I'm sorry. It's Lena and Nick.
Oh, it's Lena and Nick.
Oh, that's why I was confused.
Pardon me.
Yeah, I thought it was Mel too.
Pardon me. It's the two flyers.
Okay.
Lena
anyway,
and Nick.
Then I think Lena's response would just be like, yeah, I don't know how she didn't know.
Nobody knew. I mean, and you were married to someone you didn't know everything going on with him either all the time. I'm so sorry. He was a good man.
Yeah, I think the hardest part is he knew me.
I get that.
No, but he knew. And he didn't care. And he didn't think it was wrong.
That's, in a perfect world, that's how it should be. But as we both know, we live in a grossly imperfect world.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is there... I don't know how to how to help, and I wish I could help, and I want so badly to be able to help right now, to be useful, and I feel like I can't be useful for you.
Everything just feels really just numb. You know, you start it doesn't seem like that long ago when I was out in the field and I was staring up at crop duster planes. We're taking off from the strip that was just through the field. I remember the feeling of the wheat and the potato plants. I would always run. As soon as I got done with my chores, I would just run straight to and all the plants. They would just always slap, you know. I would run into the potato plant leaves and they would just, and I would always smell like manure, and I would meet up with Alexi on the field, you know, so we could fly. We couldn't fly the same one because we're both, you know, learning, but
It's never going to be right again, is it? Any of it. I mean, how do any of us go back from this?
we don't. We just make sure the people who did it pay. We just get powerful enough to make sure that they pay.
On that, we both agree.
And you hear laughter outside as people walk by, right? You're in your barracks and you can just hear sort of the sounds of a bustling base where somebody is laughing with someone else as they sort of pass by. You can hear the sounds of gunfire, always gunfire, artillery, day and night, bombing, shelling. You can always, and you can smell the smell of gunpowder from munitions. Whenever a heavy artillery goes off, it's like you can also, when like a grenade or munitions go off, these loud explosions, they're sort of far away, but they're close enough that you can kind of taste the gunpowder in your mouth. And you can smell it. It's like an unending smell of war at all moments. And it is in this moment, in this sort of quiet in your conversation, when Captain Petrova walks into the barracks after being away for a bit of time. Titania, you enter into a barracks that has a bit of, it's a bit empty, and there's a bit of gloom to it. You know that you have some time before you have to draw everyone together because there is going to be an execution today. And this is going to be public for everyone to see. But you have some time before that's going to happen. But you know that it is going to happen. Olga Barsukova made sure of it.
Nick, Lena, I'm glad you both are here.
Welcome back.
Thank you. She looks at Lena. She knows.
She knows.
She knows. Titania's gotten. I mean, she gets a lot of information now. So she goes over and kind of.
Oh, I should tell you one other thing since you do have so much information. This is true. Sergeant Yu has maintained her innocence. She has maintained that she knew nothing about her husband's activities at all. She was completely unaware of his activities as a Nightingale, and she had nothing to do with it. But that doesn't matter. She is going to be executed today.
I kind of anticipated that.
Yeah.
So she being me, Titania, I will walk over to kind of where Lena is. Lena, are you laying down in the bunk, or where are you in space?
I think Lena, because we have that little table, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's like just in the, yeah, I think she would have been like sitting at the table, presumably with Nick, although I'm not sure where you're at, Nick.
Yeah, Nick would be sitting at the table with her.
So Titania will walk up to the table and kind of stand at it for a second first. Lena, how are you?
I'm fine.
At that point, she sits down at the table. I understand that's what you want, but how are you? Look, we've all been together for a really long time. Right now I'm asking you not as the captain. I'm asking you as me. How are you doing?
You just lose everybody, you know, it's just part of what happens. So you just get used to it, and then you go on. And then you get powerful enough to make sure that it doesn't happen again. You just go on. So I'm going on.
I want you to know that I'm so sorry. I heard pretty much when the training was ending and I was on my way back. Is there anything I can do for you? Well,
Let me fly tonight. Don't take me off the roster. I can fly. I'm fine. I'm fine.
the thought never would have occurred to me. Although I do have something. I found out in enough time that I could make a stop on the way. And she, Titania had a little bag with her, and she pulls out like this bottle of vodka. And she pulls out a couple glasses and sets it out for all of them. And then she sets it down and looking at Lena. I went to the market on my way back and I asked them for the absolute worst vodka that I could find. So let's go ahead and drink to Alexi. Let's drink to Sarah and Ivanova and Polia.
I'm not drinking to Ivanova.
Well, you could at least drink to punching her. But we've lost a lot of people. And that being said, they're never really going to be gone. And I think we should drink to that.
You don't think they're really gone?
Not so long as we don't let them be. That is to say, if you want Ivanova to be gone, for you, I can imagine you can make that happen too. I don't think she'll be haunting you or anything. She pours the really bad, it's real bad vodka, just so you know.
That's for the best. We all know how Lena handles good vodka, so
I need her to be able to fly tonight.
So to those that have fallen.
And to those that are still standing.
To those that are still standing.
And it burns, not in a good way.
Well, they definitely gave you exactly what you asked for.
You know, now that I'm thinking about it, I'm not sure. I've been on the road for a long time. If I were in a store with food or fuel supply. Ugh.
Lena pours herself another one.
Ugh, I could probably use it to power the planes tonight. Ugh.
Titania shakes her head and she does not look happy, but she pours herself another one too.
Solidarity, Nick's gonna shake her head and just choke down another shot of vodka. And like you can see her eyes starting to well up a little bit with tears.
I feel like there's some reach out rolls that y'all can do with each other right now. I thought that was like a reach out arama. Could we have some reach out rolls? And that's just a 2d6 for you all.
2d6.
Mm-hmm. Woo!
No!
Uh-huh.
Oh, no.
Well, at least I'm getting it out of the way early.
Yeah.
7 with a partial
Oh,
success.
snap.
Okay.
Well,
So, Nick, our only successful one, you may choose to remove one harm from you and your friend, although nobody here is harmed.
Sure.
Yeah,
No.
we just had some real bad vodka.
No, actually, nobody here is harmed. Anasova was harmed, but nobody else is. Change the tone and target of one of your regard slots or add one to the mission pool.
Let's add to that mission pool.
We will do it.
Yeah.
And for you two, I just want you all to know that you two failed those reach out rolls, which means everyone else, just think about this. Your efforts are ineffective, misunderstood, or understood all too clearly.
Oof.
Just-
Definitely that last one.
Yeah.
I feel like the last.
Yeah.
I think as a person who's seen some things and gotten some info,
Yeah.
and seen some things, and hello.
Welcome in.
She doesn't outright respond to when Lena talks about getting more powerful so that we can make sure to do things that we need and or want. But it's something that she tucked away back there.
I'll just keep that information.
We'll just file that in the
Irina has been taken away because she just won the Hero of the Soviet Union, which is one of the most impressive and amazing. It's like the highest honor you can win. It's like the big award. It's really impressive, and she has been having to sort of like shake hands and have some discussions with folks, but she is now done and is able to return back to the barracks. And when you arrive back into the barracks, you see 3 of your comrades. The Greek and Anastasia's are not there at the moment. It's just Nick, Lena, and Titania. Titania's back. And they're sitting at the little table in your barracks with a bottle of vodka. And it's a slightly weird vibe in the room, but you walk in and there they are.
Celebrating for me already?
Oh, I see we have a hero in our midst.
You know that's not true.
Hey, you should come have a drink of this. I managed to bring back some of the best vodka while I was gone. I think you should have some.
Just phenomenal.
It's
For a moment, Irina has kind of like a weird look on her face when you say that. And then she kind of tries to wipe it away and walks forward. If you want to read into it or not.
don't hold yourself. Come on, come sit down with us. Doing a little reminiscing and also a little somber celebration.
Why so?
Well, we are coming up on a lot of things are changing. I can't tell everyone about the specifics of the information that I got while I was out on training, but we may be getting to the tail end of this thing.
Why? That's awesome. That's where we want to be. We need to. We need to end this.
No, it is. And it's unbelievable. Titania pours her some of this vodka and hands it to her.
She just takes it. She like does a little cheers and rolls.
It is the worst vodka you have ever had in your entire life. It burns all the way down your throat, not in a warming, loving way, but in a like stripping all of your internal insides out in a terrible, terrible way. If this were the modern day, if it were 2019, it would be the kind of vodka you would get in a gallon jug for like $7. It is
maybe even $2. Let's be real.
She makes like a bunch of weird facial expressions, shakes it off, slides it over, and is like, another.
Good, you're catching up with us.
And that laugh, Titania outright laughs when she drinks it and watches the glass cage of emotions just surround her face. And then she pours her another one and sends it over.
I wait till you fill up everyone else's. I'm like, well.
And next cheer to the end of the war.
To the end.
Sure.
And with that, you have the Greek. She pops her head in. She goes, ladies, we've got to get out there for the execution.
I want to talk to Olga. Lena's going to get up and she's going to try and meet up with Olga before the execution.
I'm going to go with her.
Hold on. That's execution?
Yes, they are. They have organized the execution of Sergeant Yu. Which, from what I am to understand, we all are extremely encouraged to attend. Lena, I hear you want to talk to Olga. Let me go with you.
Do you want?
I will join for so many reasons.
And I'm watching the two of them. I'm like, are you sure that's a good idea? Looking more at Titania than Lena, since I see Lena's current situation, and I've seen her in that situation before.
Titania kind of shakes her head a little bit, but she, she's gonna watch this unfold. And I mean, she wants to talk to Olga too, and this seems like a good opportunity for it. So,
yeah, Nick looks like she's just kind of staring at Lena, like trying to catch her eye and like shake her head like, no.
Lena is not making eye contact. She's heading for the door.
When the two of them leave, I have stuff to say to Nick then.
Mm-hmm. They leave, leaving Nick and Irina in the barracks alone.
Oh, at least you don't have to drink any more of the vodka. Whew.
You sure?
I'm pretty sure that I could fly, considering how much fuel I just consumed.
Well, let's hope so. We have another mission tonight, and it's an important one.
They're all important.
Were you able to get any information from Mel?
No.
Nothing?
What do you... We got the Nightingale. What are you digging at?
I don't know. Something just doesn't feel right.
I I don't know what you want me to tell you. I feel like anything I tell you is going to be the wrong thing.
Look. We followed her around. Her name was Anasova, right?
Yeah, Anasova, yeah.
Not Anasova, the other one.
Ivanova?
No, Ivanova, yeah. Sorry. All the names are too many names. And they sound so similar. Ivanova and I like take a moment as I say that name, and I my eyes kind of wander, and I bring myself back, and I'm like, she did go missing a lot. Maybe she's not mixed up in this Nightingale thing, but there's something else going on.
Maybe she needs some time. Maybe she needs to, like all of us do, just a place that's quiet and to think. Can you really fault anybody that?
I kind of look at her. I would like to
eyeball it.
Eyeball it.
Eyeball it. That's a skill.
Sorry, just come back in and I'm going to wreck everything.
But, we introduced you, and we introduced that you sometimes, cause some trouble.
I need to, click my character. That's fine. Skill.
Mm-hmm. You may ask one question.
Okay.
And then when you act on that answer, you get a +1.
What is she hiding?
Mel or Nick?
Nick.
Would you like to answer that question?
I guess maybe that it hasn't been put together yet in Irina's mind, but there have been a lot of times where Nick is also disappeared.
Mm-hmm.
When she thinks about it really hard, she realizes there's been enough times that Nick has also just been who knows where.
Mm-hmm.
That's great, because that's honestly where Irina's mind was going. So that's cool that it actually played out in roles too.
Dice don't lie.
Yeah, there's a moment where she kind of just looks at you, and looks like she's almost looking through you, like you're talking, but she's just like, right. We all need our own quiet time.
Satisfied?
I don't know. Irina has like a feeling in her gut that it's not a good one. And she kind of stands up and looks at Nick and says, just be careful. Don't do anything. Well, there's eyes on us at all times.
How distinctly I am aware.
Have you seen Anna? I'm talking about Anastasia. I've been calling her Anna.
Yeah.
I haven't, and I would know if I had, because she is
hard to miss.
Else. Yeah.
I chalk that up to Nick being missing a lot, and I walk out.
Meanwhile, we have Elena heading towards the office where the NKVD has sort of set themselves up. And I suppose people might want to see. We have a way to see what our base looks like. Where are we at over here? Let's have everybody see what this looks like for our crew. So we have our base, and there's this library. There was this sort of beautiful library on this base for the officers, and the NKVD has moved into this library and just thrown all of the books out into the alley behind the library, and that's where the NKVD has itself set up. And Titania and Lena are heading towards this library, and you can still see sort of stacks of these books, all in German, in the old printing style, sort of on the sides. And as you're approaching this building, Olga steps out, and she's there with Svetlana at her side, and she has got the biggest smile on her face. She looks so happy right now. Just
Before we get there, though,
oh yes,
on the way over, Titania wants to ask, so what's your plan?
Someone needs to do the execution, right? I want to do it.
Titania just has nothing to say. That's the end of the conversation, I guess.
And as you walk in silence as you get there, and there is Olga, and she just looks like the cat that got the cream. She is happy and beaming, and Svetlana seems less happy and beaming and a bit more businesslike, as it were. And you can see that Anastasia is actually following along with them, looking a little bit worried. And they're sort of coming out, and you can, as you're watching, you can actually see that a lot of the women of the 588th are beginning to congregate towards the flight line so they can start this assembly, let's call it. And as you're approaching, Olga Barsakova sees you both and smiles warmly. Captain Petrova, Sergeant Popova, it is good to see you both. And then she just sort of looks at Svetlana and kind of just waves, and Svetlana sort of walks off with Anastasia towards the flight line as she approaches you both. To what do I owe the pleasure of...
How have things been in my absence?
Well, things have been trying, I'm afraid. I'm sure you've been briefed, Captain, about the business with the Nightingale.
I have. A terrible thing.
Yes. Quite worrisome that this Senior Sergeant Smirnov seems to have been dealing with contraband and perhaps trading with members of the 588th. Contraband is undermining the motherland in our system. These things are the ways that, well, we are about equality. Black marketeering and contraband undermines the equality of the people.
It most certainly does. It's good to know that there will be an end to this.
I'm glad to hear you say it. So, Airwomen, to what do I owe the pleasure of your company mere moments before our execution?
I want to show the motherland how important it is to me that we follow the rules that they have set forward.
I believe Lena wanted to suggest that I be the one to carry out the execution.
No, I was going to offer myself.
Lena.
Captain.
I think, Olga, it's something that we should discuss. Lena, you're dismissed.
Hell yeah, Titania using her power.
Lena's going to walk away really slowly. But before she does, she's going to look at Olga as if you're not going to keep me here.
Olga's watching to see how you react to this direct order from your superior.
Well, she's not going to disobey a direct order from her superior. So she'll walk away.
Captain, I see leadership is suiting you well, comrade. Now, what is this?
So, what is the plan for the execution?
We have a squad, firing squad, and they will step forward and they will shoot Sergeant Hugh. I will probably give a few words ahead of time, but I want to make sure that everyone in our unit sees what comes from undermining and from sabotage and treason. Indeed.
Is there anything that you need from my end.
Thank you for asking, comrade. There are things that I wish that I could have, but sadly, they are not things that I'm able to have.
Such as?
I think that Sergeant Smirnov should be executed by our firing squad, not by the 218th. But that is not something that I have been able to convince my counterpart to agree to.
Now, you say something that truly interests me. What has the argument been against releasing him to us?
Well, they say that first off, that he is theirs, and so they should take care of him, but that also they have lost men on his actions, and so that he is theirs to deal with. I also think they just do not want him executed by women, to be frank, comrade.
Well, that would not surprise me. I wonder, perhaps I may speak to Sergeant Yu. We may be able to utilize her in getting them to release Forrest to us.
If you could do that, that would be appreciated. I will let you see her. She's in the library in the holding cell. Before you go, what is your assessment of Sergeant Popova?
I think she is a very strong navigator. I think she is one of our best airwomen. And I think she is a great asset to us.
As do I. I take it you did not want her on the firing squad. Why is that?
Well, she has, from what I understand, just had a little bit of vodka in her downtime. And I don't think that's a decision that someone should make when not completely in the rational mind.
Fair, comrade. I appreciate your taking care of your soldiers, your airwomen, but also your dedication to the motherland. You have overcome your circumstances quite well, admirably.
Well, I do what I can.
I have been told, Captain, through my channels, that your mother may be released sometime soon.
Is that so?
Your bravery, your good deeds, and your success has impressed the NKVD, and it reflects, well, as your mother's deeds initially reflected ill on you, your deeds are reflecting well on her. And so it is my understanding that in recognition of your service to the motherland, that your mother will be released sometime soon.
Well, while I do what I do for the motherland, that is a very welcome bonus.
Yes. Well, I will take you to Sergeant Yu, and I will leave you some time to speak with her. We have much to do. Follow me.
Of course.
And she takes you into the library. Meanwhile, Lena, where are you headed?
Remember that building where I smashed a bunch of shit before? Lena's gonna head back there.
What do you do when you get there?
Just go to town on anything that I missed last time.
You aren't in there very long when you hear, hello?
Why are you here?
And Anastasia steps inside the room, and she looks around and she sees the destruction that you've wrought. And she looks a little taken aback. She says, I saw you walking by the library, and then you went this way, and I wanted to check in on you.
You're the reason they were looking for a lavender woman. Your sister told me.
Yes.
Why did you do it, you stupid Suka?
I just was talking to my sister, that's all.
Lena's gonna throw something at her.
Do you want to injure her?
I think Lena's just reacting right now. I don't know that it's an attempt to like specifically hurt her as much as just anger.
What do you throw?
I imagine she was hitting things with this like board
Mhm.
that she had, and so I think she throws the board.
And Anastasia, she covers her head as the board sort of hits her. She says, I was just talking to my sister.
You don't talk to them. If that's really how you feel, you don't say anything about it.
But she's my sister. I didn't know who else to talk to.
Do you know what they do to you in that hospital? Do you know what happens? Let me make it really clear. You don't eat. You don't sleep. Anytime you think you're about to sleep, they start with the noises, just loud, angry noises that just happen. Anything goes. There are people there that will take advantage of you. Every time. She's going to throw something else at Anna. And sometimes they'll sit there and they'll just put wires on you. And the next thing you know, for the next, as long as you can possibly imagine, pain.
She steps a little closer to you. She starts approaching you, but hesitantly, because you've been throwing things at her.
And you know what they do if that doesn't work? Then they just take part of your brain. As far as I know, no one's quite survived that. You know, really, as a person. Next time you think you're going to tell somebody something, you just shut up. All right? Nobody wants to hear that.
Have you ever had feelings just... and you don't know what to do with them? And you think if you don't get some advice, you don't know what you'll do? She's my sister, and I thought that I could talk to her, but I don't talk to her anymore.
And is just going to kind of sit down on the ground. You can't talk to the NKVD. Can't.
And she sits down right beside you, her shoulders touching yours. I'm
just going to just sort of drop her face onto her knees and cry.
And Anastasia puts her arm around your shoulder and just sort of holds you a little bit. It's like side by side. And she hums a lullaby. Probably one that maybe you heard your mother sing to you. It's like a common little lullaby. And she just hums it softly for a little while.
Lena's just gonna cry for a while. And it's gonna start like really quiet. Sorry, it's a lot of emotion. It's gonna start really quiet. And then it's but eventually it's going to hit that sort of like just sobbing, racking, where like your whole body shakes and you can't really breathe, and the breathing just sort of comes in and gasps and jerks and starts. And then eventually it's gonna just sort of cry out. And after the sounds of like her sobbing die down, she's just gonna sit there, head still, like, in her hands on top of her knees, sniffling.
Lena?
Yeah.
I never said your name. I wouldn't. I just told my sister that I had feelings for someone and I didn't understand them. That I didn't understand how I could maybe have feelings for boys and girls. I didn't know if that was a thing, if that happened, if people did that. I didn't understand those things. I didn't know what was happening or my feelings. I never had feelings like that before, and I didn't know who to talk to because I was scared, and I thought my sister would be someone I could talk to. And then it turns out that that wasn't right, and then I felt really alone, and then you went away, and every night I thought about you in that hospital, and I didn't know what to do. I didn't feel like I wanted. I never wanted anything bad to happen to you because really, you're one of the most amazing women I've ever met in my entire life. And I've always, I just, sometimes, I just wish I could talk to someone sometimes. And I knew I couldn't talk to you because I was so happy when you came back. You're one of the most important people in my life, and
Lena's gonna just like wrap her arms around her and just like hold her really close and then start crying again. And then she's gonna whisper in her ear, "You can always talk to me. I won't tell anyone."
and she pulls away a little bit and she looks at you. She says, "Do you think..." And she gets all red. "Do you think you could ever..." Could you ever love someone with...
Lena's gonna like take her face in her hands and she's gonna say, like with tears just sort of go like starting to roll down her face again, she's just gonna say, "Some of us have scars on the inside. Some of them are lucky enough to wear them on the outside where everyone can see them and know they exist. I don't think love cares if there are scars or not, or where they are."
Could I, could I... Do you think I could maybe... Could I kiss you maybe?
At that, Lena's gonna like panic look around the room. And then she's gonna stand up really fast and like look out the windows to see if there's anybody nearby.
I am looking for Anastasia.
Everyone's heading towards an execution right now.
Okay. Is there anyone at all who could possibly see them? Because this is what she's got PTSD. She would be super paranoid about this.
Not at this moment.
Then she would turn back and like sit down, like kneel down next to Anastasia and take her head very delicately in her hands and say,
and you can see she's starting to hyperventilate just a little bit. Like she's super nervous.
my scars are pretty deep. I don't think I can. And then she's just gonna kiss her.
She has a little bit of like, she panics a little bit, because she's never kissed anyone before.
Oh.
And like there's like this little like pause, and then she kisses back, and then she kind of like just backs up. Was I bad?
No. No, you were good. You're a sweat. Just all of a sudden, Lena's just like, no, you're really good at that.
I've watched movies.
Can I kiss you again?
Yes.
Lena's just gonna, I think it's like moved out of the like sadness and just into the like, oh my God, I actually have connection, like just kissing and kissing and kissing and kissing.
Camera pans over to Sergeant Yu.
Oh, yes. Now I need a plan.
Let's go from one really, to like a really happy space. You are led into this room, and there is Sergeant Yu. And Olga just opens the door as if she's bringing you into like perhaps a cocktail party, perhaps. There's a real sort of pleasantness to the way that she leads you into this room. And in this room, there is Sergeant Yu. She's been stripped of her shoulder boards, and she is sitting on this chair, and her face is bruised. She's got a black eye. She's a broken nose, and there's some blood on her face. And she just looks angry, is how she looks. And Captain Barsukova says, "Comrade Captain, she is yours for the moment. If you can give me what I want, I would be surprised and impressed." And then she walks out, leaving you alone with the sergeant, who looks up at you.
Door is closed after she leaves, I imagine?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Sergeant Yu.
And she spits on the ground.
Tell me what happens.
I didn't know anything about this Nightingale. I don't care what you do to me. I will not say that I knew something that I didn't.
No, tell me what happened when they got you.
They ripped apart the supply. They found everything. Stupid things. Chocolates, vodka, magazines, extra fuel, just all the little things. Everybody has them. They pulled me in. They told me about Boris. Boris.
Did you ever suspect anything?
No. No. I mean, I knew he got things from places, but everyone does.
Well, there's a far cry between getting things from places and feeding information to the Nazis.
Yeah. I never thought he would do that.
Is there... Did he ever say where he got these things?
In the beginning, he stole them from me. But I don't know. I thought maybe he'd get them from soldiers or... People are always looting different places and wanting to trade. He was good at trading.
Do you perhaps know who else got things from him?
You know how it is. We don't spend a lot of time in the same places, the 218th and the 588th. I don't always know what he's doing. We'd send letters.
Did he ever send you anything with information on it? Did he ever talk about anyone that he was doing deals with? Anyone that he spoke of? Anyone that he named, seemed closer with?
It's hard to think. He always seemed to know. I didn't talk to him about what was happening, but what if I did? I mean, I didn't know all the details of the missions. I'm just in supply. I didn't know that information, so I don't think I could have given it to him, not even on mistake or not knowing. I mean, he always seemed to know.
Someone here did give it to him, though.
But it wasn't me.
Was there ever anyone else from the 588th that you saw him interacting with?
He would interact with the mechanic armorers sometimes. I mean, he you know, Boris. I mean, he interacted with you, your section. He interacted with everyone. He was really charming.
Do you know anything that you're not telling me, even if it doesn't seem like it might be important? Is there anything that you haven't told them yet that you could tell me?
I need you to eyeball for me, please.
Can I ask if this is a violation?
Uh-huh. If you get a good roll, you may indeed.
Oh snap! What am I rolling for eyeballing again?
That is skill.
Skill.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I don't get anything else for that, do I?
I don't think so.
Okay. My eyeballs. 8, a partial success.
You may ask me one question.
Would she have... Titania's trying to figure out, maybe I'll phrase it to you like this, and maybe a question will come out of that. Titania's trying to figure out, like, she thinks that you has some information that she does not realize is relevant to this. As far as, like, she may have seen him with somebody, like, in a totally chill kind of fashion.
Yeah.
Talking to somebody, he may have mentioned somebody,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't know how to turn that into a question
Mm-hmm.
other than, yo,
Mm-hmm.
you.
Give me a list of all the people he interacted with.
Yes. Where did I put that name? Where did I put the name? Because I have a name for you. I do. I'm like,
All I've ever asked for.
I was like, where are my session notes? Where is this name? Oh. I'm gonna have to make up the name, but I actually have a name. It was Matilda was the name, and the last name was hold on. Wait. I have a name for you. So you're asking this question, and she's thinking about it, and she says, he was very close with your mechanic armorers. It's, you know, Kameneva, Mel?
I know her, yes.
It was, there's a private that always hangs out with her. I think she just got promoted to sergeant. Matilda. It's her second in command in the shop.
Okay.
They would hang out. They would play cards, poker, sometimes. But a lot of people played poker with him.
That may be helpful.
They're going to kill me today. And I didn't do anything.
They may. Or we'll just have to see what happens. Titania gets up and leaves.
And you leave this woman in this room, this woman from the far east of the Soviet Republic, from Vladivostok, who, you know, had to work really hard, right, to get to where she's at. And now here she is in big trouble.
When I leave the room, is Olga nearby?
Oh, yes.
Oh, wow.
Of course she is. And she goes, Comrade Captain, any news?
Well, I believe I may just have some. As it seems, I believe there may be someone of much more interest to us than Sergeant Yu.
Really?
Yes, Sergeant Yu would not have had access to the information that the Nightingale shared. However, I believe I have a name of someone who did.
Tell me more.
Additionally, I think that there may be a way to... Sorry, I'm about to cough up a lung. Additionally, I think there may be a way with which we could gently pressure our comrades into sending Boris our way.
Tell me more, Captain.
Well, Boris, from what I recall, he was a businessman. And despite being in supply and being a sergeant, he was good at what he did. And no one who is in business doesn't keep a ledger. I would guarantee that he had a ledger, and if our alternate captain does not want that information getting out, I would assume he would want to work with us.
Well, you would need that ledger, I think, for that leverage.
Well, first things first, I think the more pressing issue is to perhaps find the real Nightingale's wing among us.
Yes, if there are more traitors, I will want them. There
Of
may be an
course.
opportunity for you to find this ledger if you think. It would probably be in his supply or somewhere. Do you think you
They
would
took
know?
all of his things, did they not?
They did.
Do you know where they're being held?
No, over on the 218th, but you have an excuse, all of you. I have arranged for your section to join with theirs to look for Alexei Popov's body. That gives you access. Also, I think young Sergeant Popova would need to collect her husband's things. That would get you on their base.
Yes, that may be what we need. In the meantime, when I spoke with you, it seemed that she would be willing to give us a name for the person in the 588th that Boris spent the most time with, who may have been in a better position to give this information. However, I had to convince her that her life may be spared were she to share this name.
Captain. Treason equals death.
Treason does, but not all of us always know what our other halves are necessarily doing. And if there is a risk that there may be someone among us who is able to partner up with some other uncouth individual, we may still be at risk. And I think that's the far greater threat.
Yes. Are you sure she's not just saying that to save her own hide?
Well, there's only one way to find out, and I believe that's to speak to the party in question. Few people can withstand your style of questioning, Captain.
Comrade Captain, your Sergeant Alberg denounced Sergeant Yu, and I take the word of a hero of the Soviet Union very seriously.
I as well. However, it's easy to think that the pieces line up when one does not have all the pieces on the table. Sergeant Alberg is always going to do what is best for the motherland, and I think she's only to be commended for her alert eyes.
Captain, you know your women best. I will postpone the execution until tomorrow. If this means we may find one of the Nightingale's wings and get Sergeant Smirnov executed by me and not by them.
Nothing would make me happier.
Well, I would say gather up your section and head over to the 218th. They're a little bit east of here. They are expecting you for this mission. And perhaps you can get the things that will put us in a good position.
Of course. Titania starts to walk away, then stops and turns around. Were I to get you this other individual who may be the true treasonous person among us, how long would you need?
For the questioning?
To find out the truth, of course.
It depends. I don't think very long.
I have full confidence in you. I will see that she visits you shortly. And she leaves. So before, she is going to go to the mechanics area before moving us to the 218th.
Nick,
Yes.
Did you have any plans to visit the mechanic armorers? I know you've been laying a bit low, but I'm just wondering.
She definitely would have gone over there, especially after the conversation with Irina.
Let's move over to the hangar, where you have... I really want that last name. I wrote it down and everything, but I know the first name was Matilda, and the last name
I
was...
thought I wrote it down too, but I didn't put the last name.
I know, right? But it was Matilda...
Because I was like, I know you said it before, because I wrote her name down.
Yes.
She's on my suspect list.
Because she's suspicious, is what I'm trying to tell you. Yes. You arrive into the hangar, and the hangar is, again, it's been waltzing, Matilda. There is an announced execution for today, so everybody's in a bit, of a state. But they are working hard to make sure that everything is ready for the mission for tonight. And you walk in, Nick, and when Mel sees you, there's that quick, brief flash of a smile before it goes back down, and she's like, Sergeant Volkova, to what do we owe the pleasure of your company here in the hangar?
Is there anything that I can be...
I have the last name for you.
Oh, what is it?
Gregorgieva or something like that.
Gregorgieva.
Yeah, Gregorgieva. There we go.
Thank
I don't
you.
know how to pronounce that shit.
If there's
Thank
going
you.
to be a moment where Nick is first walking in, I will be right back in 2 seconds. The dog is doing something.
Please do. Thank you. I was like, it was Matilda or Gregorgieva. Thank you.
I was like, I know you said it before.
I did. You're the best. And she's like, we're just working on getting everything together for today. Is there anything that you need of us?
I just want to make sure everything is working properly. Maybe you can fill me in real quick.
Oh, of course, Sergeant. Let me give you a tour of the planes, and she sort of moves you off from the rest of the mechanic armors. There are 5 of them, and Matilda sort of nods and waves at you, and the rest of them nod and wave at you. And she takes you down the line to each of the planes, and once you get out of earshot, she opens up the engine for Lucky 13. And she's started pointing through the work that they've been doing. But as you're sort of leaning in, she's like, is everything okay?
There's still some suspicions going around, so I just wanted to say that we need to be careful.
I thought that was all taken care of.
I thought so too, but I got approached by somebody that was still questioning me about you, and we just need to be careful, and maybe we got to postpone tonight.
Okay. I just wish they'd leave us alone. We're so close.
I wish so too, but this is just what we need to do. And it won't be for very long.
I feel like everyone's going. Have you heard what's going on out there?
Bits and pieces, but it's all been so convoluted, and then the Greek is running around spreading rumors. And...
The fucking Greek. I wish she'd just keep her mouth shut all the time.
I know, I'd give anything for that.
Look, I heard you're going out there to go get Alexi's body.
Yeah.
Will you be careful?
What do you think I'm going to say? No?
No, but really be careful.
Of course. I always am careful. We both know anything could happen.
Yeah. I've heard it's really bad out there. Just don't take any risks.
That goes for both of us.
I think that you can sign off on this plane.
I think, yeah, this looks great. Good work as always.
And let me take you to Death's Kiss. I think that you might. There was a problem with the intake, and I think we fixed that.
Sure. Let's take a look.
And she takes you to the one plane further away from the rest of them. Everybody here is pretty nervous, but I think we'll be okay.
Is anybody acting out of sorts?
Well, I mean, everybody's. I think ever since. I mean, everyone's wondering what's happening with Sergeant Yu in there, you know?
Yeah.
I can't think she knew anything.
I'd like to think that she didn't, but it's doubtful that he was acting, I guess, entirely by himself.
Yeah.
Keep your eyes open and your ears open, okay?
Yeah. And before you can leave, you notice Matilda Gregorieva walking up to you both. And she goes, Airwoman? I'm sorry, Airwoman? Mel, have you heard anything about Sergeant Yu?
I don't have anything to report, nor would I do anything that might spread rumors.
Right. We all have to be careful.
Yes, we do.
Are you going to be playing poker with us later?
I'm not sure if I'm going to be in the mood.
And this is when your captain walks in, and you see Gregorieva and Mel and Nick all huddled around Death's Kiss with its sort of engine open. Mel has got her big, huge wrench, and they're sort of looking at the plane, sort of doing repairs.
Titania shall walk right on over.
And seeing the deputy commander of the regiment, Gregorieva sort of like gets up and scoots back to the rest of the mechanic armorers.
Captain Petrova?
Nick, Mel, I need to speak with you.
Mel's like, has that like who me look? Yes, comrade captain. Okay.
Nick, if you'll give us a moment.
Of course. And kind of shoots a nervous glance at Mel, but tries to keep it as like minimal as possible.
And Mel steps over to the captain. Captain? Comrade, congratulations on your promotion.
Thank you. It would never have been able to happen without all of the wonderful hands that go into keeping this unit running. Mel, I need to know everything you know about Matilda.
And Mel kind of looks over towards the mechanic armorers, which includes Matilda, and then looks back. Why, Captain?
Do you think that you really had access to the information that she's going to be shot over?
That's hard to believe.
I'm trying to make sure that the real infiltrator gets sussed out.
Yeah, but it's not anybody in my crew. We're all loyal.
Everyone in the entire unit is loyal, seems loyal, but someone among us was giving information.
Captain, I don't think it's any... None of my women would do that.
I need to know everything.
And she just brings you a little bit further away, and all the mechanic armorers are watching this with nervous energy. Like, they don't know about this. And she says, why Matilda?
I had word that Matilda often spent more time with Boris.
They play poker, that's all.
Was anyone else with them when they played?
Well, you know, he always had his gaggle of of guys they would play with over on the 218th.
Is there anyone you can think of that might have spent more time with him?
You spent time with him. Maybe you know something.
I always went by myself, grabbed something and left. Do you know of anyone who spent time with him? We all benefited from his illicit activities.
Yeah.
I'm not looking to punish anyone for that. I'm looking to see that the right person is no longer able to put my women at risk.
Of course, Captain. It just... Look, we would play poker with him sometimes. We all would. I mean, she would play sometimes more than the rest of us, but I don't think there's anything criminal in that. Well, technically there is something criminal in playing poker, but I mean, you know what I mean.
What do you know about her aside from that?
Well, I know that she comes from... And you can tell she's feeling really uncomfortable at this point in time. There's like this discomfort in her face. She's... Her family's from Moscow. She was... studied chemistry, I think, in university. Wanted to be a pilot like me. Didn't make it.
Do you know why she didn't make it?
No. No.
Do you really know why she didn't make it? Or did she not make it for similar reasons that you didn't?
She didn't make it for similar reasons that I didn't make it.
I see. I want to eyeball.
Yeah. Eyeball
It's
it.
time. The time for eyeballing has come.
That is skill, my friend.
Put your eyes all over it.
Yep.
All right. Whoa, that's a straight success. That's
Nice.
Yay!
You may ask 2 questions, and when you act on those answers, you get a +1.
My first question is, does it seem obviously Mel wants to protect her.
Yeah.
Does it seem like Mel wants to protect her because she actually thinks she's innocent, or because she's one of her people and she's close with her? And also they have similar circumstances.
They have similar circumstances, which makes her one of her people, which makes her want to protect her.
Right.
But also, what would happen, do you think, to Mel and to Nick and to anyone who might be in similar circumstances if people decided to start questioning Matilda?
Right. I mean, Titania does not know this, but Fox the person knows this.
Mm-hmm. It seems as if she thinks, or she would like to think she's innocent, but it seems to you as if there's a lot more concern in there.
Okay. And then second question is, oh man, that was my main question. I wasn't thinking of another one.
And you can ask that other one later if you want.
Yeah, let me hold on to it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think for all intents and purposes, finding that out, I think Titania can be sensitive to that concern. The next question she will directly ask to Mel. Is there anyone you know of that might have been seeming suspicious around Boris?
Look, Captain, you know that we don't always have the supplies we need to get the planes running again.
I do.
They don't give us everything we need. So often we need to scrounge for parts. We all have done it. And Boris had parts. And when I needed parts, I would send Matilda to get them from him. But that's what we do. I didn't want any of you to die, so we get parts where we can get parts. That's...
The parts are not what I'm worried about. I'm worried about the wrong person getting shot in front of all of us tomorrow. And beyond that, Boris is no longer an issue. That doesn't mean that there's not going to be other people who would be willing to take his place. And so long as there's someone among us who is going to put our women at risk.
Look, I don't think she did it, but she was the person I would send to... She would always volunteer to go and get parts from him, and she would play poker with him, but we all did. I mean, I think that... It was weird, but there was this thing that she would do. It's stupid. It doesn't mean anything.
What was it?
Boris is really good at poker, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he would always win. All the time. She had a special deck of cards, I think they were marked, that she would play with whenever she played with him. And she could beat him every time with those cards. She never used those cards, of course, with us because they were marked. But I always thought it was just funny. That was just a funny thing. That's all.
All right. I think that is what I need to know.
Okay. What do you want me to do?
Unfortunately, I don't think there is anything that you can.
I don't want...
Call Matilda over.
And this look of panic hits Mel's face, and she looks at Nick, who's still in the hangar, but sort of a bit distant. And you can see this look of panic on her face as Titania calls Matilda over. And Matilda sort of looks at everybody else and starts walking over with this sort of look of concern. And Nick, do you remember when back in Pashkovskaya, when you had a bit more freedom and privacy, when there would be a couple of parties with just the family in that old bombed out church?
Yep.
Matilda was, of course, at those parties. She was one of the crew. Her, also Masha Rodina, there was that small crew of maybe 12, 13, 14 women who would hang out at these parties. And she was one of them. And she's walking over now. She's being called over by Titania. And she looks with this sort of look of panic. And she walks over and she goes, Captain?
Would I... How panicked does Mel look?
Mel looks panicked.
All right. So as soon as I call over, as soon as I see this, I'm going to hold up my hand before Matilda gets there for her to stop where she is.
Matilda stops where she is.
This is directed to Mel. Is there any reason why I shouldn't turn her in?
Yes.
I'm going to need you to be very honest with me.
She could say a lot of things about a lot of people that I care about.
How much are you able to keep control over your women?
I can take care of things. I can take care of things. If you think this is really what you say it is, I can take care of it.
A lot of women, you say?
Yeah. A lot of women.
Carry on. Ty turns around, leaves.
And Mel gives Nick a look like...
Nick's gonna go after Titania.
And you see Mel turn around with this sort of like, Nick, you know the look. It's the look of like, everything is fine, right? And Mel's like, don't worry, ladies. I took care of it. It's fine. And she walks over to sort of like make everybody seem relaxed, like everything is fine. And she just starts, you can hear Mel sort of saying, don't worry, it was a false alarm. There were some rumors, but I think everything's okay, and sort of try to sort of pacify this as you walk out of the hangar.
What was that about?
Titania's going to be walking, but she's going to talk, but she's not going to look, except for where she's going. Sergeant Yu is going to die to protect a lot of women on this base, from what I understand.
You don't think she did it?
I didn't hear you say it.
You don't think she did it?
No, Nick. No, I don't.
I thought it seemed strange too. Who do you think it is?
Well, evidently all that matters is that, as far as we're concerned, it was her.
So, you don't think it's her, you think it's somebody else, and she's going to be put to death for them.
Titania stops and turns and faces her. What do you think will happen? If one of the mechanics goes under questioning under Olga, what do you think will happen? Don't think I haven't noticed that you're gone a lot of the time. Don't think I don't know that there aren't many women on this base who spend their pastimes however they see fit. That is not my concern. Are you willing to take out many people among us, many of our sisters, over something like this? It won't just be one person who dies. If you're willing to do that,
I understand. But if there is someone else that is causing problems that we know of, are we going to take care of them?
well, you know Mel better than anyone else. Is she going to be able to keep a tight rein on her people?
I think so.
Then I'm hoping that this won't come up again. And then she turns and starts walking.
A truck is brought up. It's being driven by the Greek. She drives up to Irina. She's like, Irina, come on. We've got to go to the 218th. We've got to get this body.
Okay, so I never caught up with Anna.
Mm-mm. You don't know where she is.
She's mysteriously gone.
Okay. Dang. I wouldn't have seen with her.
Oh, you will.
Oh,
you
I
will.
get it. Tracheus.
We're all going, right?
Mm-hmm. And the Greek is like driving around trying to pull up your section. And the last people they're trying to find are Anastasia and Lena, who are not in the barracks.
Ooh.
I imagine they're eventually found.
I would imagine that like Lena required that they left the building at separate
Yeah.
times. Like Lena would take a
Yeah.
lot of precautions to make sure that nobody would know that they had even realistically, hopefully been at the same place at the same time.
Yep.
So they probably get found in different places.
I imagine Lena's found first. And there's like, so you're driving around trying to find Anastasia. Still can't find her.
Oh my!
I've been the whole time all of this other shit's been going on. All I've been doing is looking for her. So that's been
You cannot find her. Finally, you see her just like out in the flight line, kind of wandering around.
Oh, there she is. She's over. There she is.
I'm literally imagining her just kind of like wandering, like freely. She's free range.
Just looking at the sky and then looking at the ground and then at the sky again.
And like she gets into the truck and she's just glowing.
Lena's just gonna like sit there and keep like staring down at the floor. And not making eye contact with anyone, and definitely not making eye contact with a certain Anastasia.
And Anastasia sits right next to Irina and waves at you.
I wave back at her and I smile. I'm like,
and then she punches your shoulder.
I'm like, where have you been? I've been looking for you for an hour now.
Oh. And then she punches your shoulder.
We gotta talk.
Oh.
And then I look over at our captain who's trying to get our attention.
I don't know if I've tried yet. I'm just kind of watching this unfold with just like ponderousness. Ladies, as you know, we are going to the 218th we are going for I know what our secret mission is, and I know that Lane is picking up Alexi's things. We were going for another official reason, though, weren't we?
To recover Alexi's body.
Okay, but that's not actually on the 218th base, though.
No, but you're going to go over there to pick up the 218th because they're also going to accompany you to pick up the body. It's going to be a joint mission.
Ladies, as you know, we are going to be joining with the 218th to recover Alexi and his possessions. Kind of shoots a glance at Lena.
Lena doesn't make eye contact. She just keeps staring at the floor.
That's fine. While we are also over there, we are, between us, going to be doing a little reconnaissance. As many of you know, well, as all of you know, Boris turned out to be the Nightingale. He put all of us in both the 288th and the 218th at tremendous risk, and there are those who have died for the sins that he has committed. Now, as many of you may feel, if you are like me, the 288th suffered far more than the 218th for his acts against the motherland. And there are those of us that feel that he should be relinquished to us for execution. That being said, we are going to look through a few of his things when we arrive at the 218th. Does anyone have any problem with this?
No.
Not at all.
I think you will agree that it is very distasteful that the 218th would be unwilling to relinquish someone because it would be uncouth for him to be executed by women. However, I feel that that is really the only just thing to be done. Are all of you willing to help me achieve this?
Yes.
I want to be there when he's executed.
As do I. All right, when we arrive, Lena, you will need to collect Alexi's things. We are going to need to get into the supply room where they have stored the things that have been taken from him. We're going to need to do this in a particularly discreet manner, so I'm open to any suggestions.
And you are having this conversation as you're driving over towards the 218th.
Do we know who's at that post guarding the things?
I don't offhand, but certainly no one who among us outranks us or is any more of a hero.
I could just make a big fuss.
A distraction?
Yeah.
I like that
I'm
idea.
not crying. It's just there's just this dust is getting to me. So
Anastasia punches Irina in the shoulder again.
Irina's like,
Anastasia, I think you may be onto something. Lena.
Anastasia has no idea what she just was onto.
Lena, if you would like to throw a scene that includes some punching, I would be most certainly behind your decisions.
will you help me explain it to Olga? Because I had a pretty clear recommendation not to do any more of that to people.
If it ends up getting Boris to us, if anything, she'll give you a medal.
I'm fairly certain I can land a few good ones.
Perfect. Irina, do you have any way of contacting your, the major that seems so particularly fond of you?
you're talking about Kasanov.
No, he's a junior. He's a sergeant. She's talking about the big major, the general that got you into the unit.
I see. Murashkinov or whatever his name is.
Miroshnichenko.
He has a name, but I'm sure it's a good one.
Okay. I say the name.
If there's any way that you can contact him, I'm sure that both is he a major or a general?
He's a general. He's in charge of both the 588th and the 218th. He's the 4th Air Army. He's like big dude.
I'm sure that the backing of a general and a hero of the Soviet Union would make our job a little bit easier.
What are you proposing?
If there's any way you can perhaps let him know how just it would be to have Boris handed over to the 288th, I think that would help us out greatly.
See what I can do.
Perfect. Well, let us make this happen then.
We're going to do this before we take our break because there's a surprise during the break. So we have to do this first, audience, and then we'll take our break.
It's true. It is true.
It is true. So you arrive over the 218th, and they're also in one of these overtaken Luftwaffe air bases. And you are expected, and when you arrive, there's a section of airmen, including Andrei Kazanov, who are sort of standing around waiting for you. And Kazanov is like waves to Irina.
Irina like
Not.
just nods her head, but like doesn't really wave back.
And like a couple people like nudge him, and he kind of like, there's like clearly there's a little bit of teasing, but he's very excited.
Yeah, Irina like glances, sees that, and then immediately looks over at Anastasia.
Irina, you seem to have fans.
Whatever that means.
That's because she's amazing.
And well decorated at this point.
All of which is true. And so I guess is somebody greeting us?
Yes,
what is
there's a young man who's a junior lieutenant, and he goes, Comrade Captain, I hear that you are to accompany us on the search to recover some bodies.
Yes, that is correct. As well as we are going to need to recover some possessions as well.
And they sort of see in the back of the truck Lena, and they're like, "Oh, of course. So shall one of us take you to? We can do that."
Yes, let's do that now.
I'll take the widow. If you can just wait here, and we'll be right back.
Eyeball. I want to eyeball.
Do it, Skill.
This may be a simple enough question. Would we be able to see where the storage room is? The storage.
These places are all fairly laid out. Fairly. Give me an eyeball, but that should be not hard to find.
9.
Yeah. And I imagine you probably know where he is already, because I bet you've been to this particular supply post before, because people tend to know where Boris is.
Right.
So,
that being the case, what must happen once the distraction unfolds? Is it close enough where we can just sidle over to it, or like a quick dog?
I think that,
like, where should I do the distraction? Like, would I have that info?
They're going to take you off to barracks, and you also know where he's at. So his barracks are not so close to the supply depot. Because the thing is, you all have had reason to be at this base before, so you know where things are. You know where his place is, his footlocker.
I think making a distraction close to the barracks would be good. That way they'll go in toward there, and we can pop.
Probably they'll be.
Pop in.
Yeah. And probably they'll be one of the folks who is in Boris's circle for Elena to take a swing at.
Yeah.
Yay!
And you may need somebody else besides just one person to help you carry that heavy footlocker.
That's true.
Yeah, I'm planning on following Titania.
Yeah, I think Irina, you like taking some swings.
Are you sure, Captain? Would you want me to go talk to the general?
Oh, is he there?
You can get. This is Berlin. You can probably get contact to him, no problem.
Yes. No, you do that.
Mind if I
Say
take
again?
Anastasia with me?
And Anastasia nods.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm not imagining Anastasia is going to be much of a carrying objects kind of gal. I guess I'll send the Greek with Lena, and then Nick will come with me.
Lena's just gonna like look the Greek up and down to see like how kind of gauge like I want to eyeball the Greek to see if she's going to be any good in a fight. I feel like Lena has enough fighting experience
Give
at
me a
this
skill.
point.
She's a brawler, man.
Oh, whoops, hang on. There we go.
So,
13, full success.
lucky 13.
You get two questions. One is she good in a fight? I would say she'll be okay. She's not she's a bit stocky, right? She doesn't look like she'd be the most graceful, but you think she seems like she's probably a scrapper. She looks like she fights dirty, is what I would say.
Perhaps more importantly, can she take a punch?
She looks like she fights dirty, is what I would say.
Good. I don't think that bothers Lena.
So you are moving off with this gentleman this junior lieutenant is going to take you off to the barracks. Let's scoot over to Irina and Anastasia, who are walking off towards the command headquarters.
What if we're not heading towards the command?
Anastasia's just following you. She's just like,
Where are you?
Would I know a place that no one else would go? Or could I find a spot that no one else would be?
Totally. That's easy. This is a big base that is also sort of like been, what's the word? You've moved into it. So there are a lot of these places that are sort of like abandoned. That is not hard to find at all. You can find like an old barracks that's not been fully moved into yet.
Okay. And I don't see anyone else around?
Nope. And she's just following along, just in a super good mood, again, in a way that doesn't seem to make sense toward the environment, but...
I go inside and I like pull her in there too. And I'm like, I've been meaning to talk to you.
She looks around. Are we going to find the general here?
No.
Oh.
Sorry I was avoiding you.
I just figured maybe you were busy writing letters. Or something.
Look, you know how you were telling me about how you were unsure of things? I guess I'm unsure of things.
Oh. Can I help?
Maybe. Maybe you have already.
What did I do?
Look, I may have been told to help find the Lavender Woman.
Oh.
And I don't know, maybe I'm just confused. I've been told things are one way my whole life. Kind of like you were saying.
Oh.
But when you kissed me the other day, I maybe felt something that I didn't feel before.
Oh.
And she puts her hand on Anastasia's cheek that's got the scar, and she like rubs her hand on the scar and kisses it. And then makes her way to her lips, I guess.
So Anastasia is how do I put this? She's got sensory overload at this moment.
She's going to explode.
She is going to explode
Fall over and die.
And she just takes your hand, the hand with all those scars on them, and she kisses you back. And then she pulls back, and she's almost electric with energy. And she's like, can I?
What? Sorry, maybe you didn't feel that way. Maybe it was confusing.
No, golly.
I thought that maybe
no,
and
wait.
Irina starts walking out the door.
Wait, no. Oh, and she kind of like reaches out to grab you, and she just gets like the hem of your uniform.
Yeah, and I stop and I turn around.
Can I? Oh. And then she closes her eyes, and she kind of like leans forward, even though you are now like 2 feet from each other. You're not that close.
I walk up and continue.
She's going to make out with you hardcore in a way.
Snap!
Yeah. And she's going to giggle a little bit and she's going to just like hold your hands and just be really gentle with them. And I think that you are not going to get a hold of the general.
I'll allow it this time.
I'm definitely going against my orders.
You are my friend. And she's going to dance with you.
Irina will attempt to dance, probably step on toes again.
So while that is happening,
oh, my girl's all grown up.
she's
Out with each other.
Anastasia's so happy right now. I can't handle it.
She's literally going to have a cardiac arrest.
She's going to have a cardiac arrest.
Once we all get back in the van together, like, and everyone's in the same place, she's going to die. Die.
Nick and oh no, we have to do the other one first. So because of distractions. So the Greek and Lena are moving towards these barracks, and the junior lieutenant sort of takes you in, and you've been to these barracks, and it's just weird to be in his barracks, right? His footlocker's there, and it's locked. You have a key because he gave you a copy, and his bed is made. And the man sort of says, can I... You know, he was okay. We all liked him very much.
Oh, don't lie to me right now.
Can I... Do you want me...
Is he one of the ones that I
Yeah.
overheard
Yeah.
that one
Yeah.
day?
Ooh.
Yeah. Yeah.
So as he starts trying to talk again,
Yeah.
Lena's just gonna like tears start to fall and she just takes a swing.
I need you, my friend, to act up. And this is definitely like a hooligan.
Yeah, so guts.
Luck.
The best acting
Oh,
up
luck.
way.
Luck.
Excellent.
Because you are not acting up like a natural born airwoman.
Alexi. Hang on. I think I have regard for Alexi.
You do. That's a +1.
Okay, excellent.
Mm-hmm.
Alexi has passed on. I think that should be more than a +1.
It's only
Right?
a
It should be like a
+1.
+10 or
Oh, wait.
100
Oh,
or 125.
he died. You have 1 harm, my friend.
Oh, yeah.
You have to take a harm because Alexi's dead. Sorry.
Alexi.
Take that harm.
Hang on. Let me put that harm on there before I forget.
Yeah. You have a harm.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. Because you're
Plus,
not.
she's been throwing stuff and crying.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Are we ready for this?
Mhm.
Because I don't know if I am.
Oh,
A success! Yay!
She hits him hard.
although really I think this is actually tempting fate, to be honest, which is guts, but this is fine. You tell me about how you deck him. Tell me about how this goes. This is a guy that you remember him talking about your husband, saying all sorts of unkind things about him, and you've spoken to your husband. When you spoke to him in person, you know that this guy, this is this blonde guy with a bit of a crew cut. He was the guy that beat up your husband on multiple occasions, stripped him to his underwear, tied him up in your barracks way back in training. This is one of the guys that has been a tormentor of Alexi for years now.
Would Alexi's things be on top of his trunk? So here's what I'm looking for.
Mm-hmm.
Is there nearby like a pipe or a gun or something that she could use to like make it worse?
Gun?
That she could just grab. That's
Gun?
his. It's Alexi's.
Gun, no.
Okay.
His gun would not be out. However, I want you to tell me about something.
Doesn't she have a pistol in her holster?
She does.
She does,
Yeah.
but I'm wondering if there's something of Alexi's out there because
Gotcha.
I don't like that.
So what about something that perhaps you gave him as a gift? Something that he keeps with him. Something heavy, something meaningful, something from back on the farm.
So I think like something that he normally would have had in his trunk, but he didn't have time to put it back into the trunk before he went on the mission this last time. So it's kind of sitting at the edge of at the foot of his bed. But it's this like, it's just a it's like one of those like hunting knife sort of things that you would use. You might like use it to like hack a tree and get it out of the way or whatever. It's just sort of an all-purpose multi-tool sort of thing.
Oh, please do not actually stab this person. I did not get clearance for that.
Oh no, I don't think she's gonna stab him. She's not gonna take enough time to like pull it out.
And the sheath. The sheath is made of wood and it's been whittled, so it's been carved, right? So it was I would say it was carved by either your mother or your father with designs in
Probably
the sheath.
my dad.
Right, and so he has this sort of it's almost like a machete, right? But it's smaller than that, and the sheath is wooden because you don't have fanciness, right?
Yeah.
And it's sort of carved with designs, and you had given it to him, and it is out, and he always kept it with him when he was flying as good luck. But he forgot it that one time. That one mission, he forgot to bring it with him.
Which is why he didn't have his luck.
And it's on the top of the footlocker.
So I think as he starts to like say all of this BS, she looks at him and she's like, "Don't lie to me now." And she picks it up and just wham right across the top of the head, like just metal, like as hard as she possibly can, like use it like a bludgeoning tool.
The Greek yells out, "What the fuck?" And the guy goes, "Ah!" And he sort of crumples. And outside, Nick and Titania, and an assortment of men.
What's that I hear?
You hear some sort of sign of violence in the barracks.
Oh no, what a shock.
And the men look around like, what? And they go running towards the barracks to find out what's going on.
I think that Lena, like, as soon as after she gets done hitting him, she like jumps on top of him and just keeps hitting him on the head, like as much as she's.
The Greek is going to try to tackle you off of him so that you don't murder a superior officer, because that would be bad.
That would be harder to cover for.
I think Lena like fights her off. Like at one point, this was a distraction.
Yeah, and now it is not.
A distraction when he started to lie to her about taking care of Alexei after being the person who's done all of these things to him. Like, now Lena's just getting out more of her grief into this poor man.
Yeah, well, poor man. So there's a distraction going on over there. What do you two do?
Oh no, it's so shocking. Okay, we're gonna go over the
is it locked?
No, the supply desk is not usually locked.
Okay.
I'm gonna go in there.
Yeah.
You two walk in and you see 3 of these privates, the ones that were always hanging out with him, and they look up and they see you and they're like, Captain? Comrade?
Yes, where are Boris's things? We were ordered to look through them.
Act up.
Wait!
Medals.
This time it can be, isn't act up like, is that an eyeball? I don't remember.
You're acting up because eyeballs for information, but you want them to do things for you.
I do want them to do things for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe this is as a natural Soviet-born airwoman, that's medals, and because you get a +1 because Nick is there supporting you.
And I also get a +1 because I'm pulling rank.
You are. Mm-hmm.
Which am I rolling on this?
Medals.
Medals?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I believe that's 2. And it's already added in the medals that I have.
Yeah.
And let's see what happens here. 13.
So I assume you have a choice. Have someone do what you want. Ensure there are no consequences for your acting up. Add 1 to the mission pool.
I am going to
Get 2.
2? Perfect. I'm going to have them do what I want, which is to show me his stuff and then go away. or if they want to show me his stuff and then, because they feel so inspired by having a captain among them, just start telling me and like wanting to impress me by showing me through all of his stuff, I would accept this.
What is the second thing you want?
And the second thing is I want no consequences, because there's a lot of other things I'm going to be getting consequences for here.
Oh, yeah. So they look to Nick, they look to both of you, because both of you two have been here before, right? You have both, not to this particular place, but you have been, maybe actually to this particular place, but you have all been around Boris before, and so they're not really quite certain what to do with this. And they look to Nick, who they sort of think of as a bit more of a comrade, right? A bit more of a working class comrade.
And Nick's gonna go, you heard the captain.
What all do you want to see? I mean, most of this stuff has been taken.
What is left? We are looking for any sort of papers or books or anything. And of course, anything that you could help us with would be very much looked upon well by Mother Russia.
Yes, Captain. And so they take you over and they're like, well, and they show you these, now the logbooks have all been taken. We don't, they sort of try to find papers and they're like, all of his official stuff is gone. Do you want other?
Any other paperwork. The official paperwork has already made its way through the logging process that is necessary. We're looking to log the unofficial paperwork in addition.
They look a little confused and they sort of look through things and they're trying to they're not quite certain what to give you. They look a little intimidated and a little uncertain. Like it's like what all should we give you? And they're looking around and they're like,
Is there anywhere that he might have stashed something?
Yes. And they go underneath. There's like he's got these stacks of files, and they're like and they go into like a cabinet, and there's like a false back to this cabinet, and they pull out this false back, and they're like, I don't think you'll find any of this really interesting though. And they pull out vodka. They pull out whiskey. They pull out all of this alcohol. They pull out some German wines. They pull out some French wines. So there's a lot of alcohol in the back of this cabinet. And they're like, I don't know if you'll find this. And they start pulling out Swiss chocolates. There's all of this contraband.
How big is the space behind this thing? What is this?
This cabinet's like a full desk, right?
Oh, I thought it was like a filing cabinet drawer. I was
no, it's like
how that is all fitting in there.
It's like a full table and like with drawers, and like one side has got like there's like a back that's maybe like a foot that runs the whole end of it, and then they pull out like a box full of it's just this box, right? And inside of it is just an entire box full of packs of playing cards. And
are they open?
Some of them are, but most of them are not, or they have been opened. But it's just like a whole box of playing cards, and like a little ledger of wins and losses.
I'll take that ledger. And I would like to flip open one of the open boxes and pull it out and look and see if it's marked.
Eyeball.
I forgot. That's
skill.
One day, by the time this is all over, I'll remember what these are.
And then we'll be done.
And
9. I take it the one question you would like to know is, are these marked?
Are these marked?
They are marked.
Mm-hmm.
This, and as you're looking, it seems as if some of the cards have been replaced. It looks like this is a means to pass information back and forth.
Okay. Flipping through the ledger, it just has does it have any names in it?
No, but it seems to be in some sort of code. So you could probably take that in and get that looked at. It looks like wins and losses, but you're like,
No, the box of cards in the ledger is coming with us.
And they're like, oh, okay.
Thank you. You have both three of them?
Three of them.
All three of you have been very helpful. Thank you.
And they give you their names.
I will see to it that you receive the benefits that you deserve.
Meanwhile, these 4 men rush into the barracks. And they see this tussle between you and the Greek, and she's trying to stop you from beating this man who's unconscious.
Sucks to be him.
And
I think Lena is just like, it's probably going to take more than the Greek to get her off of the top of this guy. And she's like trying and beating him. And
I need you to tempt fate.
Okay. Success.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. They pull him off of you. Luckily, before you kill him. So that was a good roll that you got that 12 on that tempt fate.
I think she, even as they're like pulling her off of him, she's like keeps struggling to like go back at him until she finally like stops and just sort of like cries.
With that success, you don't murder him.
Good.
That would have been rough.
But their Pola truck comes to visit. And there are some problems. Your mission is canceled for the night because of this violence. You are not sent off to find Alexi's body. Instead, there are some consequences for your actions, and that is people are going to get in trouble. However, Olga gets Lena out of trouble because Olga has taken an interest in Lena's career. This violence is going to be put aside. We will take this as the grief of a widow. Clearly, some behind the deals maneuvering has happened. And as you are all waiting to figure out what's going to happen in this moment, I imagine you've passed off this box of cards. Eventually you come back to the base. And when you arrive, you hear of something terrible that has happened. An accident. It turns out Matilda Gregorieva fell. Something fell on her, something heavy, in the hangar. And she was crushed under some crates. And it was a tragic accident. And in her effects were 6 packs of cards that had code on them. It turns out that was enough to get Sergeant Yu off of the chopping block.
Hey.
But she was sent to Gulag for being a black marketeer. Gregorieva, being dead, could not report on anything, of course. And as this is all happening, when you're all waiting to find out if maybe you'll be able to be sent back out on a mission to maybe get his body or something, the Greek runs in and she says, "There's no flight tonight."
What?
What do you
What are you
mean?
talking about? Why?
The war's over.
What?
The-
Really?
The war's over.
This isn't another one of your dumb rumors, right?
No. No. All flights are canceled. They surrendered. It's
Oh my
over.
God.
And she runs off to go tell more people.
Would I be here? Would I be somewhere more official? Where am I doing with my hands?
Right now you're dealing with,
What would you do with my hands?
with all of this.
Okay. Tanya's gonna just like stand up and take off her hat. I have to go find out more. I'll let you know. And she goes off to talk to official kind
Do
of
you think
entities.
True? That it's over?
I'm
not flying tonight?
Oh, we're not flying tonight. I wonder if they've heard yet, and Nick takes off to go to the mechanic armorers.
It is a weird mood. And you can tell when you look in Mel's eyes. That was not an accident.
Well, seems we've got a few things to celebrate. Probably good that I snagged this and all of the alcohol that was out. She snagged the bottle of best vodka she could find and stashed it in her bag.
Sleeves.
Meanwhile, in our barracks, we do the same, I feel like.
Well, also, I was going to say, since everyone left, the only people left in the barracks are Lena, Irina and Anastasia.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm filling up some glasses. We're getting drunk.
I'm watching.
And Anastasia's just like, she's positively vibrating, just like there are things that she has not processed yet in terms of later consequences. She's just super excited right now. She's just so happy.
I'm just pouring us all glasses. I don't even care whose alcohol this is.
And now, my friends, this is when we're going to take our break. Because we have makeup to get into right now. We have a surprise for you audience members after this break. We have some donations, but we're going to read them at the end because I want to read them all after we get to our surprise. We have a surprise for you all. We're going to take like an 8-minute break, and I want everyone to go to the bathroom, drink some water, stretch your legs, and we have a surprise for after the break. Okay? So get yourself ready for what happens afterwards. We're gonna go on. We're going on break, everybody. Be back. We'll be right back. Oh, wait. I have to get here. Here we go. No, that wasn't even it. Hold on. That wasn't break. Wait.
It
Okay.
wouldn't be break without a break.
We're going on break. We'll be right back. It'll be exciting. Welcome back, everyone, to the epilogue for Night Witches, Toil and Trouble. It is wonderful to see you all here again today. So, the war ends, and every year, on the anniversary of the end of the Great Patriotic War, the Night Witches gather in Red Square, the Sisters in Arms, every year to have fellowship, to remember what they've done every year. And it is decades. These women meet, and one day, it's 1992. The wall has fallen, the Cold War is over, and on this one day, our women meet again here at Red Square, 1995, 50 years later, to see each other again. And there is a small restaurant in the back where each one of our air women meet one more time. And on this particular day, there is someone who is interested in their stories. Perhaps a young college student studying history who's working on their dissertation on the Night Witches, and is sitting with all of these women as a large group, and asks the question that normally I would ask at the beginning of each episode, and asks, it's pretty amazing to meet all of you. I'm working on my dissertation, and I've studied all about you. I think all of you are, all the things you've done is so amazing. I'm wondering if well, thank you for telling me the stories. I've enjoyed sitting here hearing about what you did during the war. I mean, and she's got all of these notes, and she's taken everything down on a cassette tape, recording everything, that all these stories that you've told her from the Engels Air Base all the way through to the end of the war. She's recorded everything you've told her, and she says, "So, could you tell me what happened then after the war? What did you do? What happened?" And she looks up to each one of you to find out what. And she goes through notes. She goes, I see that Veronica Cordina, she died at that last mission, is what I was told. That's what the records say. Is that right?
Well, it's what the records say, but I could swear maybe in the 50s or 60s. I could have sworn I saw her in East Berlin, but I couldn't catch up to her.
Oh, but the record. Oh, says
you don't
here.
see a star like that.
Oh, and she writes down. So, what all have you been doing since the war?
Well, a lot. Is there anything specifically you want to know? It's been many years.
Did you continue flying?
No.
Oh,
Well, somebody needs to dust the crops every once in a while. So I think it's important to make sure that it's people with an appropriate amount of understanding when it comes to planes.
I smile at Lena and I kind of like look at her. I'm like, yeah, those of us that take care of the crops.
oh, so you two went back to farming? And she's going back through her notes because she's got all of these stacks of notes trying to make sure she has everything ready. You two were started as farmers. You continued being farmers?
I don't know how else to live, I guess. After the war, I wasn't sure what else to do.
It seemed like a good way to be able to stay in the air, in a sense.
So, can I call you Lena?
I prefer it.
You didn't stay in the military? You didn't go into the NKVD?
You know, it's funny you ask that. I seriously considered it at one point and wanted to. And at that point, like, Lena's going to look over at Maggie and Anastasia. I assume the three of them are sitting together.
Sitting there next to each other.
Yeah. And she's just going to like look to one and then look to the other and just say, but you know, sometimes taking care of Mother Russia means taking care of her crops and her people.
And Anastasia puts her hand on yours and pats it. And then she puts her hand on Irena's and she pats it. And she says...
Irena holds hers, like squeezes it.
And she says, I was a city girl. I didn't think I would like farm work, but... And then she smiles at both of them, and then she takes Lena's hand and she squeezes as well, so that she's holding both hands. And she says, it turns out farm life really suited me.
And, you know, the girl I told you about, Maria.
Oh, yes, and she's going through her notes. Maria, yes, what happened to her?
Oh, well, she's with us. She helps on the farm, you know, taking care of things.
Sometimes she takes us up on the plane.
Oh, she flies?
Well, I had to teach her. I couldn't not.
Oh, that's so wonderful. Nick, can I call you Nick?
Please do.
Oh, so did you ever retire to the Black Sea?
Well, we didn't make it quite that far, but we did retire somewhere lovely. And it's still lovely.
And a little bit late, Mel walks in. And she's wearing a blazer, and her hair still cut short, and she's sort of, she's a little bit bent, right? Because that's a long, heavy road, and she sort of.
Oh, look who decided to show up!
Oh, you made it.
Well, I had to park the truck. How is everyone? Oh, the young whippersnapper.
Drive that old clunker around.
I still drive it. If I can fix it, I can still drive it.
One of these days.
Well, I will tell you, I don't know about these new cars. They've got all sorts of electronics in them. I don't trust electronics in my vehicles.
Oh, yes. Have you tried one of those computers yet?
No.
Fascinating.
No. I don't know anything about computers.
You can connect to the internet.
What is that?
Maria installed some kind of dial-up thing. We always have to tell her to get off there whenever we want to make a phone call.
Or she yells at us and tells us to get off the phone because we interrupted her AOL,
I think it's called. Yeah, AOL. Something like
AOL?
that.
AOL.
At least you're all coming into the modern times.
And then the historian, she goes through her notes. She goes, so what, may I call you Titania?
Of course.
What rank did you end up in the end?
Oh, I made it to major, darling.
Oh, major.
Should have been a general, if you ask me.
Well,
would have made a good one.
Yeah.
Oh, you know, the opportunities at the time were still very limited. And well, once my mom was released and ended up moving back to Leningrad. Child, that's what they called St. Petersburg back then.
Oh, yes.
That was Leningrad. Yes, so anyway, after that, I ended up moving back. I mostly just wanted to outrank Olga.
Oh, that. She kind of gave me the creeps, though, but...
I think she gave herself the creeps.
I did my notes on her. Wait, where is it? Oh, she picks up some paper. It says here in my notes that she spent the next 15 years tracking down the body of every night witch that was lost, that was shot down so that they could get proper burials.
I will say this, even though she creeped me out. I think I told you this a long time ago, Anna. She did look out for us.
Those were hard times.
Right, she did.
It wasn't always easy to look out for everyone and make all of the right decisions.
And if your body wasn't found, well, you were
Right.
seen the traitor.
I'm so glad we found Alexi.
What happened?
Well, you don't know the history. Lena was married once.
Oh, and she's going through her papers. So you found his body? How? What happened?
Well, war gets to you. Some of us make it through with just scars. Some of us don't quite make it.
I'd take off the gloves that were on my hands and show the scars that are still showing, that even though my hands are old and wrinkly, like you can see the burns on them.
Oh.
Elena will take your hand, one of your free hands, after you're done showing him.
And Anastasia, still with this sort of like beam, she just puts her hands on both of your backs and sort of gives them a little rub.
I'm so glad the three of you ended up being able to get along together.
And Anastasia goes, "Look at my hands. They're farmer's hands now."
Yes. Yes, they certainly are. Oh, your sister says hi, by the way.
Oh, how is that?
Oh, she's doing well. You know, her arthritis is still bothering her, but she always is very good about watching after the gallery when I'm not there.
Mm. And then the historian's like, "Gallery? Oh, tell me about the gallery."
Oh, yes. I thought I had mentioned that. So after I got out, I went back to Leningrad. Back then that was St. Petersburg. It was called Leningrad back then. Anyway, I went back there and I ended up, my mother had still been painting and I went back into the arts myself, dear. And I ended up opening a small gallery.
Oh.
And, you know, when Svetlana was finished in the military, she joined me as well.
Oh.
Petrova, you should give her some of your art to put in the article.
Oh, that's
Lovely.
That's a wonderful idea. Yes, I think I might be.
She
Would you
used
like
to draw us images sometimes of her dreams.
Wait, I think I might have a piece of art of yours.
Oh, you may have. Oh, did you contact us with the email?
I did. I asked for some sort of art. I think.
Oh, I didn't realize that. I'm sorry. My memory is not as good as it used to be.
No, wait. I think I
always
do.
Get my email password, and then Maria has to find it again, and then she writes it down, but I forget where she puts it.
And this young historian pulls out a cardboard tube, and she opens it up and she goes, "Are you sure I'd be allowed to use this in my dissertation?"
Oh, of course, child. I would be more than happy.
Oh, here. And then what she does is she pulls out this. It's a scroll, and she undoes it. And it's like a poster, and this poster looks something. Where's my cursor? Like this. Let's see.
Oh, that is so cool.
And,
oh my gosh.
And this is, and what is revealed is this beautiful drawing by Titania. Really, it's by Rocket Fox, of each of the women of the unit. And one of the presents is that a hard copy of that is coming to all of the cast members in the mail.
That is true.
Oh, that's so cool.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
And
from me to all of you.
Thank you.
That's so sweet. I think Irina actually tears up when she sees this poster of all of us when we were young. Or, yeah.
Oh, remember having hair that wasn't white?
And
Barely.
Anastasia goes, "Oh, I look so young."
Anastasia, you still look so young. Although I guess you are actually much younger than the rest of us.
Only by a couple of years. I only lied a little bit.
A little bit, she says. A little bit.
And Mel looks and goes, "Oh, did I ever look that way?"
You did.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
In some ways, you still do to me.
And she puts her arm in yours, and she gives you a kiss in the cheek.
Now, make sure to keep that in a hotel room. Is that what you children say these days?
What are you going to do? Report me to Barsakova?
I'm not going to report you to anyone. That is very well what we do behind closed doors.
And she looks and goes, "Oh, Barsakova died, it says. Huh. In the 70s sometime.
Oh,
Old age?"
Well, she was old back then. I'm surprised she made it that long.
She was stubborn, so I could see it. Persistent.
Anasova Andreeva.
Yes.
I'm looking here. It says that she became a flight instructor at a flight school for a number of decades.
Oh, that's
Yeah, I
wonderful.
thought she was going to be here. I don't know.
Oh, I don't know where she is. Oh, I would have loved to have spoken to her.
Some
probably-
were a little late.
She's probably busy with them.
I have one more question that I wanted to ask. So I know that in 1985, the Soviet Union awarded all of you all who served, this particular medal, the Order of the Great Patriotic War, as a commemoration of all that you've done. And I know that each of you in the mail will be getting your own copy of that medal for each of you. May I ask, how does it feel to be recognized for your service?
It's nice to finally feel like we were seen. Really seen. There was so much that we were up against, and so many people that didn't believe in us. And
It didn't matter if they didn't believe. We did. And that was my second medal.
So
Many more to come after that one.
So you're one of the most decorated airwomen, Irina. How did people treat you when you walked down the street? Did everyone look up to you? I mean, it's sort of amazing.
I wish it was like that. No. We didn't get as much attention as some of the gentlemen.
Oh.
But it didn't matter. We knew.
Well, to be honest, it's not many people really paid much attention to us right afterward.
Mm.
But it's very refreshing that you young people now seem to be taking such an interest.
I will tell you, I will write this book and I will publish all of the stories you've told me, and no one will forget what you've done.
Well, that would be lovely.
Thank you.
Hey, who knows? Maybe one day somebody will make a game out of this and people will play it on the internet. You couldn't imagine something like that,
Fourth
though.
wall trooper.
What?
What is this game you're talking about?
Why would you play a game on the internet? It's for research.
Well, maybe one day.
You're such dinosaurs. They have
Don't talk about it just because you aged nicer than the rest of us.
they have a game on the computer That's like cards, but it's on the computer. It's solitaire.
Oh,
No, I told
Why
Maria
would you
to
do
take
that?
that off. We weren't going to have fake card games when we could have real ones in the house.
I don't
Yeah,
trust
we
real
play
ones.
solitaire every evening on the porch.
And I was
with
just-
a
All four of us
cup of chai.
solitary.
sometimes we play poker. They're much better than I am. Still.
Yeah,
I'm very
well,
brave to play poker still after everything that happened.
sometimes we laugh about it.
And Mel says, when we got out, I continued fixing planes for years.
Taught me a thing or two as well, because I stayed in for a while, but then it was just too tiring and I wanted something else, and you helped teach me so I could help you out at the shop.
I will say this. It was, honey, how long was it? Was it a year after the war? When finally we got to fly together.
That sounds yeah. And
You do that race
you'll
after
never
all.
let me live it down.
We did that race, but
Wait, who won?
Irina.
Wonderful.
You all tried so hard.
I
I didn't even try.
I'll let you go off.
and
But that was fun. Those were fun days.
I will always remember all of my sisters.
I don't think I'd be who I was if I didn't go through this and have all of you wonderful ladies there.
Here, here.
Hmm.
I still remember sitting in General Rashkin, whatever the hell his name is.
Miroshnichenko.
I can never say his name. I remember sitting in front of his office for weeks until he let me in. I wanted to fly so bad.
We wouldn't have been able to make it through without you, that's for sure. And you're following me around all of the time. You know, I've still never forgiven you for following me over to see Svetlana all the time.
Well, I thought there was something going on. Turns out there was.
There was. It was none of your business.
Well, I had a mission, and it required some looking around. Look, I may have been a little suspicious of people. I wanted to figure out who that nightingale was. And, well, let's be honest, y'all were hiding things.
Look who's talking.
Hey, I didn't quite know what was going on with myself at the time.
Anastasia just pats you. Well, it was the 40s. There wasn't as much information then as there was today.
They didn't have the internet. They're still not using it correctly.
Oh, this internet thing. Maybe we can learn about things on the internet.
I'm still getting used to those floppy drive things and putting them in the... it's just a mess. I'd rather not deal with it. Yeah, just have Maria deal with it. I stick with my
Yeah.
phone calls.
Yeah. If I want to talk to someone, I'll talk to them.
I'll walk up to their door and knock on the house door. These kids
Say
these
hello.
days.
It's me. I mean, let's be real. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that.
Whatever happened to the Greek?
Oh.
Greek. Well, I remember she stayed in the military for a little while longer, and then I do recall she did stop by the gallery a couple times after that. I never kept too close with her. She always was talking about things I just didn't really care for, but I don't know.
When did she ever talk about anything anyone cared for? Causing drama, making rumors. Granted, I did fall into them here and there. I mean, information was... I didn't have much else going on, let's be honest. We were bored.
Well, and
I was just thinking about what I was going to eat next. or if I was going to even get anything to eat.
And Anastasia pushes like some of her fruit over your way.
I smile at her and grab some fruit.
And Mel goes, do you want some chai?
No.
Yeah.
Oh, honey, no.
You keep that
You
away
do that
from
on purpose? Like Lena's sweating.
And with that, your history student takes all the notes, and you sit in this cafe for a few more hours on this anniversary of the armistice, talking about where you all have been and what all you have been up to. And the curtain closes on our Night Witches in 1995. So I just want to thank everyone for being here in the audience. All of you have supported us across this 13-episode run. We wouldn't have been able to do this without you. And I want to thank all of the amazing cast who, by the way, you were all getting your very own Order of the Great Patriotic War. You'll probably get it on Monday or Tuesday. So you will have that with a letter from me. And also from Rocket, we're going to be getting a hard copy of this wonderful piece of art.
Oh,
That is
great.
so cool.
So awesome.
With everyone in it. And so I would like to go around. No, we're gonna do our donations first, and then we're gonna go around and do our sign out. We have had some donations, and I would like to read them all to thank you all. So, and there was a question somebody asked in chat about Sergeant Yu. She's Russian Chinese from Vladivostok, which is right actually on the far east end of the Soviet Union. She got out of Gulag, and she has lived a quiet life since then. She went back to Vladivostok.
Good.
She did not
Contrary to
die.
what Lena wanted, I'm glad she's alive.
She is alive. She survived.
Ooh, I feel so bad.
Yeah, there was.
I was gonna let her die.
Hey, she might have died. She might have died.
Not because
Lena
I
was
was
going to pull
another
the trigger,
that
which
we
I'm
got
really
die.
glad you stopped.
Hey, you know what? People did things. So let's read our first donation from Be Right UK, who donated $22.22 and says, "Night Witches hype! Thank you, Trooper SJP and the cast for an awesome show." Willen TW, the keeper of our wiki, which you will find, by the way, all sorts of really good information on the wiki. So thrilled to see what this last episode will bring. And I think perhaps it brought some feels. Maybe. Also some excitement. Paladin Hulk, one of our wonderful mods, donated $5.69 because he likes that number, 5. And
You got in trouble last episode.
And he writes, "I've enjoyed the heck out of this show and its amazing cast. Thank you all for the work you put into it." Vera Pavlova fan donated $5 and a poem. War changes all those it touches, burns away innocence, corrodes ideology, ravages minds, destroys bodies. All are changed, none remain. Darkness seeps, oozes, filled with the gurgling wind, the void that remains, with nothing. Nothing. Whew. Propaganda Bot has donated $15 for this message. It is sort of like a poem, or perhaps a song, from Propaganda Bot. "Glory to Mother Russia. Thanks to strong and determined Nikita Volkova. Thank you, Mech, for being awesome. Thanks to skilled and decisive Titania Petrova. Thank you, Rocket Fox, for being amazing. Glory to Mother Russia. Thanks to Take No Crap, Irena Alberg. Thank you, Maggie, for being fantastic. Thanks to the bent but unbroken Yelena Popova. Thank you, Sarah, for being wonderful. Glory to Mother Russia. Thanks to you, Trooper SJP, for being a stellar GM and making us loathe Olga, but adore Anastasia, the clueless little puppy. Thank you all, and thank you, Geek Space TV, for giving us a place to see this. Void Smoker, one of our amazing artists, donated $50 and says, thanks to everyone for the most amazing RPG show. I'm going to miss all the natural born airwomen and squadron commander. And Coruscant donated $5 and says, thanks to the entire cast for a compelling story. I'll miss my weekly dose of Night Witches. Willen donates another $5 and says, well, this has been intense. Who knew Night Witches could be intense? Many, many thanks to all of you. Titania, Nick, Lena, Irina, Veronica, and Anasova will be remembered. So will Anastasia and the other NPCs, and their legacy shall live on in the wiki. And we have one more that just came in right under the wire, and that is from Ephrithiel, our wonderful graphic designer, who donated $20 and says, a joy to be here for you all, fans, GM, and cast. Thank you for the heart you poured into each and every episode. May you always fly right. And so we are going to sign out, but I want to end with the cast. So I will say, please come and join us on Wednesday at 7 p.m. Pacific time for the second to last, the penultimate episode of Worlds Beyond, GM'd by Random Tuesday, which is using the Cypher system, and it's the strange, and it's all about time skipping sliders, dimension hopping heroes, stopping badnesses in the world with also lots of feels. Come and see it. It is really excellent. So come and see us on Wednesday at 7 p.m. for Worlds Beyond. And you may support us in all the ways that you wish. You may support us with donations. You may support us with bits. You may support us by subscribing. You can do that for free with Amazon Prime if you have one, or you can join our Patreon. You may also join our Discord and just hang out with us. You can chat with us. You can follow if you like. There's a follow button probably up there. And just be part of our community. And so I would like to have us, for the last time, on this last episode victory, have each of our cast members sign out, tell us who they are, where we can find them, and if they are so moved, say something about the experience if you like, but you do not have to. And I would love to start with Maggie, because you came in last, so I want to start with you first.
Aw, thanks. I am Margaret Crone, and the odd thing about it is that you can find me on the internet as a Margaret Crone.
What is that internet thing?
I don't know. Apparently, we don't know either. I do things on the internet. They involve tabletop RPGs and I don't know, other things, art, stuff like that. So come check it out. Follow me and see the future adventures that I'm on. I enjoyed this so much. So thank all of these wonderful ladies and the ones who are not here today, but who have joined us in the past, as well as Trooper for making this an amazing story, especially for those who, look at the history of wars and have represented their nations. It's not something that you always get to see in a tabletop RPG. Yeah. So thank you all very, very much.
Let's go to Rockette, our amazing artist.
Yes, I am Rocket Fox. I am gamer, cosplayer, artist, as you may have seen, performer, storyteller, and you can find me online at Rocket Fox. And this has been an amazing experience. Everyone involved has been incredibly strong and creative, and bringing so much heart into the world that was created and these characters. And it's been a true honor to be among these very strong and amazing women. And dude, also, and Trooper, like running this game, it was Quite possible. Well, this has got to be one of my favorite RPG experiences, I have to say. And, kudos for creating such compelling NPCs that got under our skins, even when we didn't want them to.
The two of us might have liked.
But yeah, no, I mean,
actually, everybody ended up falling in love with one of the NPCs. Let's be honest.
Right. But like it was all very plotted out incredibly. Like it was all it just got you. It got you right there. And so amazing job jamming this as well. So yeah, and then final shout out to the nonprofit that I help run, Superheroines, etc. You can find this on superheroinesetc.org or any of the other places under the same name. Our mission is to empower women and those who identify as women to embrace their inner nerd. So come check us out. Hit me up on any of my things. Be a friend. Yeah, that's me.
Let's go over to Shell Game, the young and innocent Lena, who did not end up that way.
But yeah, no, she had a long journey. I'm Shell Game. You can find me on Worlds Beyond for the last 2 episodes and in a couple of live shows here in the Seattle area. Primarily on Thursday nights at Unexpected Productions, except for one on Sunday, April 7th, where I'll be portraying Ada Lovelace in a house full of authors where one of them is a killer. We don't know who yet. It's improv. You decide.
If the person's murdered with a computer, it might be you.
I mean, I'm kind of hoping that Ada is identified as the killer in the show that I'm in, just because it's a lot of fun to be the killer. Things you only hear in theater spaces. Anyway.
And my house.
And your house. Oh, yes. And your house. Oh, man. I wanted to do this show so bad. When I first saw that it was in the fundraiser, I was really excited about the idea of it happening because I think that it's really relevant and I want to be involved in, and I want to encourage art that is particularly relevant in whatever is happening in the socioeconomic world that we live in. Because I think that art is supposed to do that. It's supposed to give that sort of like light on this may be one piece, but also here's another side. So for me, and I'm not speaking for Geek Space or anyone else, but for me, that's what this show very much was. And it was amazing to be a part of it with these people who are just so talented. I'm looking at all of their faces in front of me right now. I would do a show with these folks, hands down, any day of the week. I wasn't gonna cry. Anyway, thanks, guys.
And also the amazing Mac Strange Like That.
Hey guys, I am Mac Beauvais, and as noted, you can find me on the internets as @StrangeLikeThat. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. I do a lot of stuff. Check me out over at Happy Jacks if you want to see me playing some very different characters. I'm also going to be jamming a game over there myself very soon. So definitely keep an ear out for announcements about that. I'm not talking about exactly what I'm running yet, but I can say that it is a noir setting.
Oh, okay. I'm excited.
Oh,
sorry.
So, yeah, that's all I'm going to say about that. But this game has been really fun. I've never played a game that actually drew from history, and I knew about the Night Witches, but I didn't really know about the Night Witches. So it's been really cool to be part of a game that is not just entertainment, but is also a learning experience.
And I am Trooper SJP. It has been my great honor to be the GM for this show with such an amazing cast full of people who I have only the most respect for. This is something that has been long important to me. I suppose I should actually also say I want to thank Jason Morningstar for making the game Night Witches that we played. And if you do not have Night Witches, you should get it because it's amazing. I want to say that I'm a veteran, and I have always been really interested in women's military history. The WACs, the waves, right? All of these amazing sort of women who fought and always have fought. And I remember recently there was, some big controversy about the woman soldier on the cover of, actually a resistance fighter on the cover of Battlefield 5 or whatever it was. And some people were like, women weren't in World War II. And I was like, what is wrong with you? Of course women were in World War II. There were lots of women in World War II. And there were women in the Civil War. And there were women in every conflict. And I think that if this show could help people realize that actually, yes, women have always been there. It is historically accurate to have women exist in history because women exist. So I have so much respect, and I'm in so much awe of people who did really difficult things in really difficult conditions, and risked their lives and didn't sleep and did 1,000 nights of combat without proper supplies and in outdated planes and in great danger, nonstop. And if there was anything that we could do, I hoped to honor the women who were in the 588 and women veterans all over from all times and places. And I want to thank the audience for being here with this journey, because I know a game that doesn't have magic may be a harder sell, but I...
Whoa. Which is magic? Come on.
That's fair. There was some spookiness. There was some spookiness.
And there were a lot of sparks between a lot of people.
That was true.
Magical.
Oh, there was magic. Oh,
That moment when Trooper realizes the game he made actually had magic.
Bum, bum, bum.
I feel like... Anyway, thank you for everyone for supporting this, and tune in May. It looks like dates are not completely announced yet, but we will be doing a French resistance show, and that is going to be pretty exciting. So there'll be like teasers and info coming about that in the near future, but look forward to that. A City of Lights, and you can always donate up there to help us fund that show. So thank you, everyone, and please give love to those that you love, and have joy, and think on all of those who came before us, who worked so hard so that we could be here where we are today. As Martin Luther King Jr. says, the arc of history may be long, but it bends towards justice. And where we are now, we can only thank those who have come before us and fought so hard, and never stop fighting, even though things seem really difficult. And so I want to thank everyone, all of our ancestors and all those who came before us. And then I give all of this love back to all you in the audience. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you to all our veterans, too.
Yeah, thanks, veterans. And hey, veterans, I'm sure you understood all those parts where you had to go do stupid things like clean up stuff or inspections. Oh! Thank you, veterans from all, and international veterans from all around the world. Thank you very much, everybody. Take care.